NASCAR Cup Series regular season finale took a gap year from Daytona International Speedway last season, which tied up the web of possibilities at the playoffs at Darlington Raceway in last year's Southern 500. This year, the natural order is back in place of a super speedway setting to decide the playoff grid. 2 spots up for grabs in the Coke Zero Sugar 400, the last chance to lock the 16-car playoff field. 14 spots have been decided. In this high-stakes race, it's going to come down to ability, willingness for teams and manufacturers to work together in this draft track and to avoid the big one, impact racing. 2 drivers on the positive side of the bubble. Tyler Reddick, 89 points up. Alex Bowman at plus 60. But the specter of another first-time winner at one of the most unpredictable tracks could leave just one of them advancing on points. Darlington followed that last season with Chase Briscoe vaulting from below the bubble and onto the grid, getting Stewart-Haas Racing their final victory. In 5 of the last 7 summertime Daytona races, a new driver picked up a victory and shook up the playoff picture, including last year with Harrison Burton. Those would-be winners, though, had to go through a gauntlet of potential trouble, especially when the close quarters racing intensifies later. 6 of the last 8 summer races have had 12 or more DNFs because of crashes. In the last 4 races on this track, the lead has changed on the final lap. Along with the pressure factor, the concept of teamwork should also spike up this showdown. Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing, 2 of the juggernauts, and the only 2 4-car teams in NASCAR, each have 3 of their drivers with playoff berths secure. Each team's 4th, Bowman for Hendrick and Ty Gibbs for JGR, should expect to have teammates and automaker allies making every effort to help them. Hello everyone, I am Alex Nava, and welcome to Daytona International Speedway. When we talk about pack racing and this high-stakes race, this is playoff spots on the line. And even for the teams and drivers who have already clinched, their aspirations also have playoff implications for others. Team loyalty does run thick, as especially at Daytona, where a helping hand in the draft can make a difference. William Byron wants a season sweep of Daytona, which is a feat that hasn't happened since Jimmy Johnson did so 12 years ago. A victory or well-timed push from the Daytona 500 champion or fellow teammates Chase Elliott or Kyle Larson could help Bowman in this race. Same thing goes for 3-time Daytona 500 champion Denny Hamlin, who would want to do anything to get Ty Gibbs a playoff clinching spot. Teams are going to have a new aerodynamic safety device in place this week. NASCAR competition officials added a flap to the A post, which is the pillar that runs between the windshield and the door windows, that is designed to deploy in the event of a car turning sideways. That measure, combined with the roof flaps that have been standard equipment for years, is intended to keep cars from going airborne, increasing the speed needed for liftoff. Computer modeling and wind tunnel testing have helped competition officials determine those safety changes. And the true test is going to come in this race. The dividing line separating the playoff contenders from the rest will have some permanence after this 400-miler. Crew chiefs on both sides of the press will have varying motivations and focuses beyond the goal of winning. Tyler Reddick has the most points among drivers who haven't won, but his hold on a playoff spot is uncertainty. If a new winner emerges, and Alex Bowman has a bonanza that erases a 29-point gap between them, Reddick could be out. And like every other driver below the cut line, Brad Keselowski enters the race in must-win territory. He was runner-up to Chase Elliott in the most recent drafting race at Echo Park Speedway, previously known as Atlanta Motor Speedway, and is a previous winner of the Coke Zero Sugar 400 9 years ago. With 3 top 10s in his last 4 races this year, momentum can be on his side. The only downside for him is his 2 teammates, Chris Buescher and Ryan Preece, who are the first 2 drivers outside the current playoff field. Among shockers, Justin Haley in 2019 and Harrison Burton last year scored their first Cup Series wins in a summer race, while Austin Dillon surprised everyone with his playoff clinching win in 2022. Don't be surprised to see something similar take place when the checker flag waves, because surprise winners are not unexpected at Daytona and have, in fact, become fairly common over the years. Considering the position many drivers find themselves in, Perhaps another upset emerges, though Dillon is no slouch. On the high banks of Daytona as a two-time winner, winning the 2022 Coke Zero Sugar 400 and the 2018 Daytona 500. The priority for Richard Childress Racing this weekend should be getting Dillon's teammate and runner-up in last year's race, Kyle Busch, into the playoffs. But if that does not come to fruition, Dillon could have a realistic shot at back-to-back wins for the first time in his career. And while Ricky Stenhouse Jr. crashed out 5 of the last 7 Daytona races, he has also been proven capable of winning on superspeedway tracks. All 4 of his Cup Series victories have come on superspeedway events. 2 at Daytona and 2 at Talladega. Since the next-gen car's inception in 2022, Team Penske has been a frequent presence toward the front on-draft style tracks. In that span, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, and Ryan Blaney have combined for 5 victories, 2 from Logano, 2 from Cindric, and 1 from Blaney. While the average finishing positions do not jump off the page because of multiple crashes, this trio has 3 of the top 4 driver ratings in the series on superspeedways, per Neil Payne of NASCAR.com. If they can avoid the big one that is bound to strike, Team Penske is expected to be one of the teams in contention for the win. This trio finished in the top 5 at Richmond last weekend. Blaney finished 3rd, Logano 4th, and Cindric 5th. The overtime tends to happen with some frequency in this event, with 12 of the last 17 summer Daytona races ending past the scheduled lap count. That stretch includes 4 of the last 5 400-mile and then some races here, most recently with Burton's surprise win. There are also signs that starting up front may not be as large of an advantage at Daytona compared to other tracks. A front row starter hasn't won at a 2.5-mile superspeedway since Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 2015. He won from the pole. One other thing to watch is the weather, because rain interrupted the qualifying sessions of both the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series yesterday. They're both canceled. And the Wawa 250, which is the Xfinity Series race, also began on a delay and then faced a red flag period during Stage 1. Showers and thunderstorms were predicted to be forecast right before 11 p.m. There's a 46% chance of rain right around this point, which dropped to 31% by 9 p.m. So it appears that the rain is expected to clear out as the night goes on. If the rain is simply too intense to go the full 400 miles, the Coke Zero 400 will be official by the halfway mark, which is the completion of lap 80. To go on to our starting lineups, because qualifying is canceled, NASCAR used the pandemic formula of scoring drivers to determine the qualifying order. So here's your starting grid. Ryan Blaney will start from the pole. On row 1, it is him and Alex Bowman. Row 2 is Kyle Larson on the inside, Joey Logano on the outside. Row 3, Austin Cindric, Denny Hamlin, inside and outside. Austin Dillon and William Byron on row 4. Chase Briscoe and Brad Keselowski in row 5. Then on row 6 is Josh Berry and Daniel Suarez. Row 7, Zane Smith and Kyle Busch. Row 8, it'll be Christopher Bell and Carson Hocevar. Row 9 features Shane Van Gisbergen and Ty Gibbs. Row 10 has Ross Chastain and Michael McDowell. Row 11, AJ Allmendinger and Bubba Wallace. Row 12, Ty Dillon and Chris Buescher. Row 13 is Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Eric Jones. Row 14, Tyler Reddick and Todd Gilliland. And row 15 is Cole Custer and Chase Elliott, who won the last drafting track race at Echo Park Speedway, also known as Atlanta Motor Speedway. Row 16, Ryan Preece and Noah Gragson. And row 17, Riley Herbst and John Hunter Nemechek. Row 18 has Cody Ware and Austin Hill. Row 19, Justin Haley and BJ McLeod. And all the way at the back, Casey Mears and Joey Gase. 3 drivers have driven in the 2007 edition of this race, which was previously under the name the Pepsi 400. Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Casey Mears. Busch was the runner-up to Jamie McMurray by 5/1000 of a second in that race. The closest finish at Daytona International Speedway. 14 drivers are locked into the playoffs. William Byron, the regular season champion, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric, Josh Berry, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Austin Dillon. Keep an eye out on Tyler Reddick, Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher, and Ryan Preece, who are looking for a playoff spot. Reddick and Bowman are above the cut line on points, but if there's a scenario where there's a new winner, one of these drivers could be on their way out of the playoffs. Whether it be Reddick or Bowman. If Bowman has enough to overcome that 29-point cushion over Reddick. Chris Buescher and Ryan Preece must win to make it in. So we go around for the pre-race ceremonies. So some news around NASCAR is that the schedule has just been released for next year. As we have the official schedule for next year. It once again begins with the Daytona 500. It'll be Atlanta, Coda, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Darlington, Martinsville, then the off week for Easter, Bristol, Kansas, Talladega, Texas, Watkins Glen moved to May. The All-Star race is now at Dover, which takes place after the Watkins Glen race. The Coca-Cola 600, right after the All-Star race. Nashville, Michigan, Pocono. The San Diego Street Course near the naval base over there. Sonoma. Chicagoland returns to the schedule for the first time since before 2020. Then Atlanta again. North Wilkesboro is now a points-paying race. And the Brickyard 400 right after North Wilkesboro. The off week of the first Sunday of August. Before it goes to Iowa, Richmond, New Hampshire, and then the regular season finale at the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona International Speedway. The playoffs begin with the Southern 500 at Darlington. Then the second race of the first round is at Gateway. The cutoff race is the Bass Pro Shops night race at Bristol. Second round begins with Kansas, then Las Vegas, then the cutoff race at the Charlotte Roval. The third round with Phoenix, Talladega, and Martinsville, the Xfinity 500. The Championship 4 race moved back to Homestead Miami Speedway for the first time since 2019 when Kyle Busch won his second championship. So that is the schedule. And the other news. Matt Crafton has announced his retirement at season's end. One of the most successful Truck Series drivers in NASCAR history. Driving the number 88 for Tour Sport Racing. The culture setter. And the captain of that team calls it a career after this year. Ty Majeski will take over the 88 for Tour Sport after this year, switching over to 98. And then the other news, Connor Zilisch will be transitioning from the Xfinity Series to the Cup Series next year, driving the third car for Trackhouse Racing. The original entry is the 99, then the 1, expanded to the 88 with Shane Van Gisbergen. So next year is going to be Ross Chastain, SVG, and Zilisch for Trackhouse. Daniel Suarez is looking for a ride next season. The F-16 Fighting Falcons flying over Daytona International Speedway at the Anthem as they're all getting set. As we're also getting set for this preview of the drivers and their sponsors. Ross Chastain driving the number 1 safety culture car. Austin Cindric with Menards and Maytag. Austin Dillon, Brestree. Noah Gragson with ZEP. Kyle Larson, as per usual, with Hendrick Cars. Brad Keselowski with Consumer Cellular. Justin Haley, Gamebridge. Kyle Busch with Cheddar Scratch Kitchen. Chase Elliott with Napa Auto Parts, his primary sponsor. Ty Dillon, Seabeth. Denny Hamlin, Kings Hawaiian. Ryan Blaney, Advanced Auto Parts. AJ Allmendingers with Celsius. Chris Buescher, Fifth Third Bank. Chase Briscoe. So we have one sponsor all throughout this year. That's Bass Pro Shops. Christopher Bell, Ream. Josh Berry, Dex Imaging. Joey Logano, Shell Pennzoil. That partnership is so strong with Penske. Bubba Wallace, Columbia. William Byron, Liberty University. Austin Hill, United Rentals. Todd Gilliland, Grillo's Pickles. Riley Herbst Chumba Casino, Zane Smith Aaron's Rent to Own, Cole Custer Bonanza, John Nemechek Pie Barker Fire and Safety, Eric Jones Dollar Tree and STP, Joey Gase NFPA, Tyler Reddick McDonald's, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Jack Links, Alex Bowman with one sponsor this year, that's Ally Financial, Cody Ware of Arby's, Ty Gibbs Monster Energy, Ryan Priest Kroger, Casey Mears SI Yachts, Michael McDowell Fly Alliance, Carson Hosevar Moto Casino, Shane Van Gisbergen Red Bull, and Daniel Suarez Coca-Cola. BJ McLeod is the only driver running unsponsored. So entering this race, William Byron has won the last 2 Daytona 500s. He's running this car so successful here at Daytona International Speedway, trying to complete a season sweep at Daytona, which has not happened since 2013 with Jimmy Johnson. It's a feat, it's rare in NASCAR in the Cup Series. It's Byron and Kyle Larson 0 for 51 in restrictor plate tracks, looking to end that 0 for streak. He came close at Atlanta Motor Speedway at the beginning of this year, but fell third to Christopher Bell and Carson Hosevar, as the caution came out before they crossed the checkered flag. So Daytona bringing into pageantry and getting into command. And as we say, rest in peace to Humpy Wheeler. He brought some helicopters on, and there's some helicopters onto the sea, right around the grandstands. And there's some troops all over and there's some troops right ahead of the green flag and right ahead of the command here at Daytona. Now, I will pause this stream at some point because I have to help out a friend at this point. Give him his charger. And at the helicopter, Ryan Blaney leading off at the pole and seeing this show right ahead as the troops descending from the helicopters, these military choppers, ahead of the green flag. Getting to watch this up close, special. The helicopters descending. And Parker Kligerman fired up after last night's win that he shared with Connor Zillich filling in his place. As Zillich began to race, Kligerman ended for him. And the troops ascending now onto the grass at the Tri-Oval. Daniel Soares trying to make one last hurrah before he says goodbye to Trackhouse Racing at the end of the year. He's trying to get into the top 20 and avoid the wreck, maybe even get a win so as to shake up this field. It comes at the expense of either one of Reddick or Bowman. However, so for Bowman, he has to have everything go right. If he does have a good placement on the stages, and Reddick doesn't place anywhere on the stages, and if he does have a better finishing position by several points over Reddick, then it would give him a really good running. And Austin Dillon, in his 25th Daytona race of his career, 2 wins. He is a defending Richmond race winner, 2 in a row. Last year, marred by controversy when he right hooked Joey Logano and intentionally wrecked Denny Hamlin at the final lap of last year's Cookout 400 at Richmond. This year, it was no controversy. It was all Austin Dillon. So we'll get the engines fired momentarily. We'll be right back. There have been lifelong memories made here at Daytona International Speedway. Let's see how many more lifelong memories are made with some upsets galore. We've had some first-time winners at this event and the Daytona 500. Trevor Bayne, 2011, in the spring race. As the command is getting started. In just a moment. Kevin Owens making a command for the most famous awards. A WWE superstar. Giving the command for the most famous awards in racing. As is shown at the Daytona 500, there have been a litany of first-time winners in this racetrack. Not only the Daytona 500, but also the Coke Zero Sugar 400. Derek Cope, 1990. Sterling Marlin, 1994. Michael Waltrip, 2001. Greg Biffle, 2003 in the Coke Zero Sugar 400. As we were comparing the two of them. Trevor Bayne, 2011 in that year's Daytona 500. And Michael McDowell, Austin Cindric as well. In the Coke Zero Sugar 400, among first-time winners, that included David Reagan, 2011. And Justin Haley, 2019. Harrison Burton last year. Eric Jones, 2018. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who's been in a thrill, won his first Daytona race in 2017. Not a first-time winner, though. As in 2017, he won his first race at Talladega Superspeedway. He held off Kyle Busch. Eric Almirola, 2014. As it's been in around throughout all sorts of chaos. He's still racing today at the Xfinity Series. 2014 at the Coke Zero Sugar 400 was Almirola's first of two victories. The other being at Talladega in 2018 in the fall race. So everyone gets their engines fired up. How are we doing, Patrick?
Yeah, you got my message in our group chat?
Yeah, I got the message.
Yeah, but the networking, it's going to be HHN, eventually. Yeah.
Yep.
And all that other stuff. You got it, though?
Yeah, I got it, though.
All right, cool. Oh, Victor. Wow. Oh, my. You got, the number one NASCAR fan in North America here.
Yeah. Hey, guys. A long time no see.
How have you been?
It's been a while, Victor.
Yeah, I've been busy on playback.
Playback. So that's your other platform that you use?
Yeah, I'm using it right now, so I'm just doing I'm just multitasking between you guys and this.
Oh, so we're making predictions for this race?
Yeah.
Right. I got Logano.
Alex Bowman.
Oh, that's another good one, because you know what it means for Bowman, because this is a playoff spot on the line for him. And not only him, Tyler Reddick, too.
How about you, Patrick?
Oh, Patrick left.
Oh.
But I feel the importance of teamwork is going to come into effect, because this is a drafting style race, and members of the same team and even the same manufacturer, they're going to do everything to ensure that driver makes it into this high stakes, into the playoffs, which I know is going to cause controversy around. But if anyone wants, personally, if anyone wants to argue for it, no more winning in, please. But I like the Bowman pick, especially when you have uber talented drivers like William Byron and Chase Elliott to help you. No dissing Kyle Larson here, though he doesn't have the best luck at super speedways, but he did have some top 5 finishes at Atlanta and Talladega this year. So,
hope the rain stays away.
Yep, we're hoping that the rain does stay away, because it's expected that the chance of rain is going to decrease throughout the night, which is hoping that it avoids the track entirely. And here at Daytona, it's pure chaos where anything can happen. We saw this last year with Harrison Burton, and 5 years before that with Justin Haley. And in terms of extra laps, well, we have seen some finishes before on the extra laps, such as overtime finishes. Last year, Chris Buescher in the year before. And a lot of shuffling come around all around this pack.
Behind the pace car in the Alex Bowman.
Admittedly, I may need to. Admittedly, at some point, I may need to step away because I'm helping out a friend get his charger back. But nonetheless, I'll be covering in this throughout the night, just hoping the rain stays away. Now, the other thing is, if that inside line does get an early jump, we can both imagine that Larson and Bowman would help each other out. So I don't know if it's going to be, though the inside would mean that Larson will be in front of Bowman. So in such a case, Bowman will have to jump to the other lane, and that will allow him to go ahead of Blaney, and then Larson eventually, and then get up front, work with Larson. Though, if you're Blaney and Logano, of course you both want to be working together. It's a bummer that these two teammates are on opposite lanes to start off this race. Bowman's on the outside, front row, while Larson's on the inside, second row. Opposite is true for Blaney and Logano. Bowman's being pushed by Logano to start this race, while Blaney is being pushed by Larson. And meanwhile, for Tyler Reddick, he will be starting all the way at 27th. The gap between him and Bowman is 29 points in the current standings. While Chris Buescher and Ryan Preece, the two RFK Racing teammates, they must win it so as to make the playoffs. So Ryan Blaney at the front, the pole sitter, and Alex Bowman right next to one another. Now, in an ideal world, Larson will be working with Bowman, and then Logano with Blaney. William Byron is moving to the rear. And he'll be going to the back of the pack. It's Chase Briscoe. Been desperate for a win. He got that win at Pocono. Brad Keselowski is desperate for a win this year. This could be his best shot. Zane Smith, Kyle Busch, one next to one another. All the cars are directed down pit road. The pit road speed is 45 miles per hour. SVG trying to get his 5th win of the year. And first at an oval track. All of his wins have come at road courses. 2 of them is just Chicago street course. 1 at Watkins Glen. 1 at Sonoma. And 1 at Mexico City. Bubba Wallace, winner of this year's Brickyard 400. Wanted to get another victory so as to bolster his case and bolster his playoff seed. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. won previously at Daytona International Speedway. Tyler Reddick, points leader among those who have not won a race this year. He wants to get a much needed victory here. His last win was in true Tyler Reddick fashion, when he passed around Denny Hamlin and Ryan Blaney on the final lap of the Straight Talk Wireless 400 at Homestead Miami Speedway to clinch a Championship 4 spot. Casey Mears, one of the last drivers of the 2007 running of this event, he's all the way back. William Byron starting at the rear. Ryan Blaney shifts to the outside. Alex Bowman to the inside, so as they stick with their teammates. That makes the most sense that you're working together with teammates. Blaney's working with Logano, and Bowman working with Larson. Ryan Preece, the communications with his crew chief Derek Finley, driver of the number 60. A good pep talk for the Berlin, Connecticut native. William Byron's all the way back. Rudy Fugle has been ejected for this weekend. He's going to start from the rear and serve a stop-and-go penalty after taking the green flag. He has been penalized after the pre-race inspection. So it'll be a stop-and-go, which hurts his chances of sweeping events. Though if he does get a caution, he could find himself at the lucky dog position. We're ready to get going here at Daytona International Speedway. Pace car lights are off, and the pace car will be off to pit road right now. They'll make their way onto the green flag. Ryan Blaney leads them over to the green. It's up, And here we go! 2 playoff spots on the line. Let's get rocking and rolling. Alex Bowman, whose season may be on the line here. And Ryan Blaney with the early jump on that outside, working with Joey Logano. Penske has been known for being stellar on super speedway tracks in the next-gen era. And here they come. First stage is 35 laps. Blaney with a huge gap ahead. But here's Bowman on the way to the inside. Huge push from Larson on the counter. And he gets the position right back. All the way towards the front. And he's going to have to be very aggressive here. Who's going to be stronger on the corners? Already that third lane is forming up. It's Blaney wanting to get the counter. Who leads the first lap? It'll be Blaney ahead of Bowman. All shaking and baking around. The third lane continues to form. And Byron will serve his stop and go penalty. So he'll lose a lap. He'll be so much slower. The third lane mounting up. Is building on the outside. Chase Briscoe shakes lanes. Moves towards the middle. And Bowman and Larson working together. This is shades of 2011 in which the bump drafts are going up. Denny Hamlin started 5th in this event. But that inside's not going away. Logano with a strong push right on Blaney as he is way ahead. That middle lane strongest. That visibility strong on the way up front. Ryan Blaney breaking away from this pack as this middle lane goes very strong. Alex Bowman fading back with that inside line. Watch for the 43 of the Eric Jones in the Petty Blue STP Dollar Tree Toyota. Austin Cindric changes lanes towards the middle. That's the lane in which the Penske Fords have been running with. He's on the way to 10th. You want to go fast. You want to pick up that dirty air. Those aerodynamics work best when you pick up that dirty air. Kyle Busch looks to jump in front of Alex Bowman. Daniel Suarez, the last car on that middle lane, moves up. And Busch sticks with that middle lane. Does Bowman go to the middle lane? He's going to stay with Larson for the moment. 4 laps in. Kyle Larson is pushing him, so that teamwork is going strong. They're continuing one on top of one another. Austin Dillon fading behind that inside. That middle lane being the strongest lane that it has on the momentum. Penske running 1 and 2. Denny Hamlin and Brad Keselowski in tow. Daniel Suarez picked up there. And Kyle Busch coming in behind. Austin Cindric and the Menards number 2 Ford. That middle lane still strong as they have occupied the first 6 positions. That front 6 breaking away from the pack. So we're 5 laps in. And the 12 team wanting to get another win, which would be their second of the season. Austin Cindric trying to break away as Michael McDowell. First one on that outside lane. The middle lane is the control lane. They have the strongest run right now among all the drivers. Bowman's all the way back at 14th. And Kyle Larson at 17th. They're all fighting for the positions. Larson with the push on that inside. And the opposite side, the 6 of Brad Keselowski trying to get a win. This is win and you're in. He must win this race to make it into the playoffs. It was a slow start for Bowman. He's fading back. And the 6 car has figured things out at Daytona. That outside lane looking stronger as they're building up the momentum. Do Logano and Blaney make the jump towards the outside if the run gets stronger over there? Michael McDowell is the first one on that lane as Kyle Busch is right next to him. These two who started 1 and 2 in last year's spring Atlanta race, in which McDowell won the pole, Busch finishing 3rd by 7/1,000 of a second behind Suarez, who was right ahead of him. The lap car is William Byron. He'll be the lucky dog if there's a caution coming out. And he'll be eligible for the free pass nonetheless if he is a lap down. Perhaps he'll just put it on the yellow line for this moment. Try to get momentum build up from Bowman and Larson. Teammates working with one another. That inside line has completely faded. He's trying to get a little bit closer. All the cars from that inside line have settled onto that middle line as Byron's fading further back. Tyler Reddick working with Riley Herbst. And use that draft to work it to your advantage. 2 lanes of cars here as that inside line completely faded and lost all momentum. Bowman settled onto the outside and tried to build things up. Now Byron will fit in with the middle lane, jumping in front. Now he goes to the outside, and he just completely missed the draft. And he's wide open here. You're going as fast as you can go here at Daytona. Do remember, this is Daytona where anything can happen. The high line, the 71 is a control car. Michael McDowell. Chase Briscoe, a little low at the back of the pack. Good start for McDowell as he made his way up. He's fading a little back, but then fighting back on that outside with Austin Cindric as he get that push from Chris Buescher. McDowell, formerly a Ford driver with Front Row Motorsports, made the switch to Spire Motorsports. In the offseason, right into 71, Zane Smith subsequently switching to Front Row in the offseason as McDowell is right next to Cindric. Do remember that outside needs to keep this momentum up. All the drivers fighting for position as Kyle Busch and Austin Cindric trying to jump towards the outside lane, and they do. Here is Busch. Keselowski trying to think about it, and he will jump in front of Busch. When it gets free wide, that's when all the chaos will build up. Keselowski trying to get the big push to jump his way towards the front. Busch and Keselowski with the last drivers on the old guard. Daniel Suarez jumps towards that inside. He has no help. He moves back on towards the middle. Blaney and Logano jumping towards the outside lane. And they'll be working one on top of one another. As we're 10 laps in. Still it's Blaney leading every lap of this race. The pole sitter trying to win his second. His second race of the year. And second on a restrictor plate track driving a next-gen car. Blaney and Logano with excellent teamwork there, driving one on top of one another. 2 of the best super speedway drivers right now. Suarez trying to fight back. They're pushing and shoving here all around the middle of this pack. Now they're wide as Suarez on the inside of Blaney. Amigos. Suarez trying to get one last hurrah with Trackhouse Racing before he says goodbye this year. 11 laps in. But who is stronger here, the outside or the inside? And does anyone shoot the gap? Blaney still the control car. And we'll be right back here from Daytona. When we come back, Daniel Suarez and Ryan Blaney are side by side when we return. Back here at Daytona, we have a crash here as William Byron got turned around. It should damper his chances of sweeping Daytona. He spun right around the turn 4 wall. As Eric Jones avoided that wreck, Byron lost control and went sideways. Third wreck avoid. That's actually Casey Mears, rather, as his car got loose and spun around. And Mears, who drove in the 2007 version, William Byron gets the lucky dog. Blaney's still the leader. Daniel Suarez up to third. Now he spent his time on the back, so it was short-lived. So he gets the free pass, and he is the beneficiary. Mears spun around. So we are under our first caution at this race as Byron, the free pass. As we get our new positions up. Ryan Blaney first, Joey Logano second, Daniel Suarez third, Denny Hamlin fourth, Brad Keselowski fifth, Bubba Wallace sixth, Kyle Busch seventh, Austin Cindric eighth, Carson Osavar ninth, and Michael McDowell 10th. That is our top 10 as we run. That is to make this best race possible of Chris Buescher. There's no brake cooling. It's Casey Mears was the car that spun around. I don't imagine that there'll be any cars that... I don't imagine that any cars will come to pit road for this sequence. So see, pit road is open. I don't believe there are any takers here. Well, there are a few takers. Going with the long range game are Chris Buescher, Ty Gibbs, and the back of the pack. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. bumped William Byron. Neither of them appear to have any damage. Suarez briefly challenged for the lead before Blaney he surged right back. It'll be tire. So Chris Buescher has tire problems. It turns out he was tight. There's a problem with his right side tires. Something is wrong. And that's not going to do any wonders for his playoff hopes. There'll be a fuel stop all around for these guys. So Ryan Blaney for Team Penske at the lead right now when we come back. or lap 15 at the Coke Zero Sugar 400. This race, the final race of the regular season in NASCAR, before we head over to the playoffs, where it begins with the Southern 500 at Darlington next Sunday night. Daniel Suarez at third place. As the pace car lights will be shutting off, or they are already shut off. The grid is going to be set. Brad Keselowski back at fifth place on the driver's outside third row. Pace car is off. Oh, get ready to resume action here. Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano stacking up on the outside. Teammates working together. Let's get it going again. We restart on lap 16 with Blaney and Logano on the outside trying to get that good push on the restart. Daniel Suarez on the outside, on the inside, and one car jumped too early on that outside, it seemed, trying to get some help to build up that third lane. Blaney. Oh, Suarez got close to Keselowski. Tried to move towards that outside lane. So has to squeeze onto that hole. But that hole was closed off soon enough. Suarez has the help from Hamlin on the inside. First three are Blaney, Logano, and Keselowski. All Fords on the front three. There'll be a battle for fourth between Bubba Wallace and Daniel Suarez. Still Blaney leading every lap. Of course, you have to be careful here. Good spotter work from Daniel Suarez's spotter. And Suarez gets the pushback with the help on the inside. Hamlin, one of the best drivers at Daytona International Speedway. He's won the Daytona 500 3 times. Now Suarez once again challenging up front. Last year's race ended on a fire accident in which some fuel spilled over at pit road and took him out at a 40th place DNF. Austin Dillon tried to jump out to build up that outside lane. There needs to be more help from that outside, including on the outside Chase Briscoe. Let's see who leads this lap here. And it'll be, I believe, Blaney. And it is Blaney. Still is Blaney and Logano attached to one another. The third Penske car, Cindric, with all the way back on that outside lane. He's trapped. Trying to go outside is John Hunter Nemechek. Can't make the move from the middle to the outside lane, as that middle lane is getting a huge push. Bubba Wallace part that middle lane. And gain that run from Ryan Preece, another car who has a playoff spot on the line. And moving up towards that outside and going around is Gilliland. Spinning around to the inside with Tyler Reddick. And Reddick hits the inside wall. Yellow flag comes back out again. That's exactly what Reddick does not want, because a playoff spot could be on the line if there is a new winner. It's further back in the pack. And Alex Bowman is also in the middle of that. Another spin happening here at Daytona. First it was Casey Mears, and then it was Todd Gilliland and Tyler Reddick. Two cars collected here, but only two, as Reddick is backing up, driving in reverse on the way to his pit stall, making contact with the front of the car, and now playing the car forward. You're going to start with right side tires before they move over to left side tires. He's at the 45 pit stall now. The hood is buckled up, and there's some heavy damage on Reddick's car. There's some flaps, there's some issues here on the flaps. And some front tires as well. But that car is dented on the front. And that's not what Reddick wants in the McDonald's Toyota. There's Alex Bowman, who is behind Reddick, the other driver who's fighting for a playoff spot, and he has his on the line here. And Gilliland tried to make the jump. Unfortunately, mistimed the jump. And Gilliland jumping from middle to inside. Big damage to the 45 of Reddick. And last week, he lost 28 points to Alex Bowman. And now the racing problems continue as Gilliland misjudged the jump, and it spun himself and Reddick out towards the inside. Fortunately, no other damage is done. Wrong place at the wrong time for Reddick. They both spin off of turn 4, running near 12th. Reddick hit the inside wall. And he didn't have any idea that the 45 was there. And there was a handling issue for the 34 of Gilliland, driving the flagship car of Front Row Motorsports. It looks like rear left damage for the 34 of Gilliland at the end. It's hard to judge the blocks and moving in towards the lanes. There are dotted lines around, but there aren't dotted lines here at Daytona, but it felt like Gilliland has believed that he had an opening and he wanted to get towards that inside lane so as to help out his teammate Noah Gragson in the 4 car. And those 8-post ducts, the bright orange, those are the new ducts attached to these cars here for the super speedway package. And yeah, that front of Reddick is dented. It's a good shot of it from behind from the 48 of Bowman, who slowed up so as to avoid that wreck. Not a lot of pushing and shoving, but a good job from Bowman and Larson to avoid that wreck, and Reddick suffered the worst of it. Going around here at these speeds and the communications as Reddick is going back down pit road. They're trying to diagnose how bad this damage is on the 45 car. They're going to evaluate this and to check the damage. He has 9 top 10 finishes this season, but it's just 1 top 10 in his last 5 races. It looks like they're not earning stage points in stage 1. And they want to ask if they can get onto the damaged vehicle policy, the DVP. A NASCAR official is at the scene to determine how bad this damage is and see if Reddick has earned himself a spot on the DVP. Now the gap between Reddick and Bowman is 10 points. The gap between Bowman and Priest, 73. But still, on a track like this, you have to stay on the offensive because you have everything to lose, everything to gain from this spot. It's not as easy as it is. The car is being taped so as to fix it. If Bowman gets in front of Reddick, we go back to last week as Reddick, who won stage 1, he got tagged from behind by Ty Gibbs when Gibbs got bumped into by Daniel Suarez at Richmond. He got spun out just near the entrance to pit road, and it cost him a lot of points. And the bad luck continuing. For 2311 Racing, as Bubba Wallace, who won stage 2, he had himself a bad finish because of a crash. Noah Gragson's off the pit road. John Nemechek, Chase Briscoe, William Byron, Chase Elliott, and the 9 car they pitted earlier. They'll take tires and fuel. What's a fuel stop before for Elliott and the Napa Auto Parts Chevy. They'll take the opportunity to put 4 tires and fuel. Different drivers and different strategies all around Daytona, and it all can vary from here on out. And they're going to assess more to the 24 of Byron. And Byron radioed to his crew that something was loose on his car. So they're calling him onto pit road to examine this damage. If there's something inside, it doesn't show on the exterior, but it may be there on the interior. Now, the good news is that he is back on the lead lap. But we'll have to see how this plays out. Back at Daytona in a moment. The night lights are already here at Daytona. We're at lap 23. And we're coming towards the end of stage 1, which is 35 laps. So pit stops have already been made. Among those are here. This is really nice to see this beautiful scenery. And the pace car is up. We're back underway here. Green flag is up. Let's get rocking and rolling. Ryan Blaney rockets up front. Dominant car of this race so far. He and Logano working together in stage 1 as Bubba Wallace trying to make the push. Has that from the inside from Suarez. Now here's Bubba to block Blaney. As Suarez, he's controlling that inside. It's Kyle Busch in tow. Blaney and Logano right behind Bubba Wallace. The outside starting to get formed. Further back in the pack is Wallace trying to manage both lanes. He has the lead now. Right now as he is managing the inside and the outside. Having to be careful because pack racing is dangerous. And he can't get down to that 99 quick enough. Side by side are Wallace and Suarez. Wallace is already locked into the playoffs. But the pushback from Blaney is going to help Bubba. Kyle Busch right behind Daniel Suarez. Don't forget about Joey Logano. He is there. And you have to be careful not to get way too far ahead because you can lose all the momentum. And remember, there's Daniel Suarez as he has Kyle Busch with him. Does Kyle get back onto the front? Here's Suarez. Jumps outside in front of Bubba. And Kyle Busch trying to get something up. Free wide. Out road free. Though Kyle Busch is feeling a vibration as he's radioing to his team. Crew Chief Randall Burnett. Brad Keselowski to the outside of Joey Logano as Suarez controls the middle lane. Now, Obushi was second previously. He's falling outside the top 10 on that inside lane. Suarez, Wallace, Blaney, Logano. The front four is Michael McDowell carries along. Kyle Larson as well on the inside. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And jumping towards that middle is Ryan Preece. It's McDowell as he moves towards that middle. Brad Keselowski controlling that outside. And McDowell jumps in front of Keselowski. Logano's thinking about it. And he almost thought about it. Decides to stick with the middle. Almost turned himself around when he got stuck in front of Logano. Oh, there's a bump on McDowell from Keselowski. Not shades of Talladega in the spring last year when McDowell got turned around blocking Keselowski. In which Tyler Reddick won that race. But Daniel Suarez still up the front. McDowell getting that bump from Keselowski from behind. As this chaos is just brewing up. And Suarez, low high. Blaney moves low. Takes Logano with him. Suarez jumps up blocking him. And they're squeezing. And there's trouble. Wallace gets turned. Several cars on the grass. Stenhouse as well. Bowman also crashing here. And Zane Smith as he's spinning. And you can see that coming from a mile away as soon as they were squeezing several rows behind Suarez. Kyle Busch also in it. His car's dented on the rear right. Wallace had an early good showing here in stage 1. It was good while it lasted for Bubba. The Brickyard 400 winner. Noah Gragson also in it. So is Riley Herbst. Austin Cindric with huge damage on the front and on his rear. Bowman with front damage. And the two drivers who are on the playoff bubble, they both have wrecked here in stage 1. Reddick earlier, though the damage to Bowman is much more severe than what Reddick got. So if there's a repeat winner, it might not matter for Bowman. If there's a new winner, then it will matter for Bowman. Since Suarez is the leader, Bowman is 7 in points below the cut lot. So now, what Bowman has to pray for is that if there's a new winner, is that there's not a new winner. It is Suarez, Blaney, McDowell, Larson, Keselowski, Priest, Logano, Hocevar, Stenhouse. And at the front, as they were squeezing all around, as Bubba Wallace went to the middle, and as Suarez was blocking out Blaney, Wallace gets tangled up on several squeezes. Kyle Larson's there, and Logano plowed through between both Wallace and Kyle Busch. And that spelled disaster the entire way. As that was not pretty. The 22 of Logano looks like he plowed through both Bubba Wallace and Kyle Busch as he faced behind. He got stuck in between Larson and Busch. And the 8, he spotted him. And the 23 is top. The Kyle Larson is stuck in the pickle. So is Bubba Wallace. It's there between the middle and the high lines. They have nowhere to go from here. And from there, it is on. So Logano is nowhere to go. He's out the gas. He puts his bumper onto Wallace. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. also caught in the midst of the chaos. Ross Chastain got away. Austin Cindric received major damage. Justin Haley got away as well. They come piling into it one on top of one another. They just keep on wrecking. Austin Cindric. Already this race just got spicy and we're just in the first stage. It looks like there a bunch of cars either damaged or gone in the big one. Oh my goodness. That was not pretty. So the top 10 right now, Suarez, Blaney, McDowell, Larson, Smith, Logano, Keselowski, Priest, Hocevar, and Chastain on the top 10. Zane Smith is on to the pits as we speak. And there were 3 cars who skipped their way through, including Carson Hocevar. Justin Haley got a clear passage, so 2 of the Spire drivers got past the wreckage. Austin Hill managed to escape from that. The question here, does Larson get to the back bumper of Wallace? They lost the draft as they were getting squeezed between the middle and the high lines. And kind of pushes him throughout and got Wallace right in front of Logano. Into the tri-oval down in the straightaway. Hocevar was able to escape unscathed. Chastain as well. And Justin Haley as he just avoids Bubba Wallace. We'll be right back from Daytona in just a moment. Back here at Daytona, officially 11 cars have been involved on the wreck. At lap 27, the red flag is out for track cleanup. Austin Cindric, Noah Gragson, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace, Austin Hill, Riley Herbst, Zane Smith, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Alex Bowman. Red flag is out for track cleanup with the wreck that started when Kyle Larson and Bubba Wallace got squeezed between the high and the middle lanes, which caused Bubba to spin around first and Joey Logano to get tangled up right between in the middle and the low lines. Kyle Busch also in the wreck as Bubba spun. 23 got closer to 22 and then crashes head on with the 2 of Cindric, to finishing 1 and 2 at the 2022 Daytona 500. How fast this happens in real time. And the result is the same. And a huge hit from the 2. So they are displaying the red flag for track cleanup. It's not the weather, but they're cleaning up the debris over at the tri-oval. And it looked like what happened to Chase Elliott last week when he went headfirst onto the wall when he was right hooked by Kyle Busch in the big one that took out 12 cars, including the 19 of Chase Briscoe. Now Briscoe's looking to become the first driver to win the pole in all 4 Crown Jewel races in NASCAR Cup Series history. Got about 4 wide over row 3. And that was not going to work here at Daytona. It's not as wide as Talladega. And everybody was converging on one another. In just a millisecond as they were crashing one on top of one another. And everybody was so close to one another. And that's the danger of pack racing because the big one can happen at any moment. And here, the big one has happened. 11 cars involved in it, which is 1 less than the 12 that is involved last week at Richmond, when Austin Dillon won. And these sequences can be super chaotic when you're so close to one another as Gragson spun out wildly at the end of pit road. Bubba Wallace went all the way down the Daytona grass field. And that hit between Wallace and Cindric, so great that it ended both their days. Bowman also receiving significant impact. And these wrecks, it's just easy to get hit in this wreck. Cindric, Gragson, Busch, Hamlin, Logano, Wallace, Hill, Herbst, Smith, Stenhouse, Bowman, and Carson Hocevar, who is the 12th car involved in this wreck. So he managed to squeak by. Coleman Presley saw this coming. Coleman Presley saw the big one happening from far away as they were all going through. Logano has damage on his front as a result of being involved in that big wreck. He said, "I don't think they know," and they didn't know. Bubba Wallace has just been checked out from the infield care center. 7 laps to go here in stage 1. See if he can make it here all the way. Track cleanup here. Suarez, Blaney, McDowell, Larson, Smith, Logano, Keselowski, Priest, Hocevar, and Chastain at the red flag. A little hit from the 5. It looked like Larson shoved Wallace down. So we're trying to manage 2 lanes at once. That was not going to work. So he went from the lead to second place and then gets hooked. Not exactly by Larson, but Logano didn't help. Being there didn't help matters here. This will be Wallace's 7th DNF this season after he won at the Brickyard 400. And not a pretty sight that they were involved at the end of it all. We'll see, but they're going to be focused for Darlington once they come back onto the action. You want to see the replay just for quick adjustment. These cars going nearly at 200 miles per hour. It's a premier drafter when it comes to these moments. Austin Hendrick also checking with some fans after he checked out for the infield care center. Driver to number 2 Menards Ford. Also sponsored by Maytag. And the look in his eyes said he wasn't sure of what happened, but nonetheless, he was in it. But it's just a brutal way to go out. Driving these cars north of 200 miles per hour. This race is starting to get spicy. It really is spicing up. And Haley, he just made it by. So for these drivers here on the top 10, caution flags back out. It's their third caution, so they have just lifted the red flag with 7 laps to go. Daniel Suarez, Michael McDowell, Ryan Preece, Brad Keselowski, Carson Hocevar, Justin Haley must win to get in. Now the gap between Reddick and Bowman is 24 laps. As will now be with 6 laps to go. Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain are all locked into the playoffs with a win earlier this season. Blaney has 1, Larson has 3, Logano has 1, Chastain has 1. Hendrick has just been released from the infield care center. Very hard hit that he took right in front when he had Bubba Wallace bump into him. It's his 4th DNF this year. He won at Talladega over Ryan Preece, though Preece was later disqualified. So Kyle Larson became 2nd place. Joey Logano also disqualified from that Talladega race. And a huge head-on collision between Bubba Wallace and Austin Hendrick. The safety improvements he used for these cars, it's the way it goes, says Hendrick. And Blaney and Logano squeezed Wallace right up of one another, and neither he nor Larson had anywhere to go from there. Bubba Wallace and Austin Hendrick will not finish the race. Their cars will be taken to the R&D department. But glad that everyone is okay. Bubba Wallace is alright. The debris cleanup is done. And a sense of urgency is settled in here. With 6 laps to go, as Hendrick going to be watching on to his teammates, Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano. Larson's still out there. It's 2 top 5 finishes on restrictor plate tracks this year. One of them came in Atlanta, the other one at Talladega. Denny Hamlin getting some repairs to his car. Getting some taping over to his right side. Tyler Reddick still going. All that Alex Bowman can do is that he's praying that there will be a repeat winner, or there's an unlikely case of Reddick winning. So Hendrick's car is demolished. He will not resume this race. Alex Bowman will not resume this race. Both of their cars are at the garage. There's an 8.5 minute red flag for that wreck at lap 27 that took out Bubba Wallace and Austin Hendrick. Some lucky to get through, others not so much. Back to you here from Daytona when we return. To recap this race, Todd Gilliland misjudged the jump from the middle to the low line, which spun himself and Tyler Reddick towards the inside, and then Bubba Wallace got squeezed by Joey Logano and Kyle Larson. Larson also got squeezed himself, and it resulted in the big one that took out 11 cars, including Wallace, Austin Cindric, and Alex Bowman, who will not finish this race. So Bowman caught a break earlier in this race, but he will not get another break here. Now all he's going to pray for is that there will be a repeat winner. Daniel Suarez goes off the pit road alongside Brad Keselowski. So action on pit road as Suarez gets tires and fuel, prioritizing the long run. Keselowski getting 4 tires and fuel. Several other cars also off the pit road. 4 laps to go here on stage 1. So Jeremy Bowen's the crew chief of the 6 of Keselowski, getting 4 tires and fuel. William Byron's also on pit road. This is one of those must-win drivers here. Chris Buescher as well. Between him, Keselowski, and Suarez. Austin Hill, Austin Dillon. Teammates at RCR, though Hill is ineligible for points because he's an open driver. Dillon already clinched his spot last week at Richmond. Eric Jones, that's another must-win driver. And we'll see if we can get back onto the restart when we come back here at Daytona. Tyler Reddick has officially clinched a playoff spot. He is locked into the playoffs on points. Now Alex Bowman is needing a new driver to not win. That there'll be a repeat winner here. Or if Reddick were to win here, then Bowman would be safe. So Reddick is locked in. Bowman had damage onto his front. 3 laps to go here. We'll be coming back with 2 laps to go to decide stage 1. Let's go! Michael McDowell and Ryan Blaney side by side here for the lead under green, as Blaney doesn't get the jump for the outside. Only thought about going low. Now it's McDowell on the inside. Daytona 500 winner in 2021 as Gilliland jumps up high. Chase Elliott tried to go around. Neither of them have any help. And Gilliland and Elliott sticking put on that outside. That inside fading back as Blaney has a push from Larson. Joey Logano trying to make his way back up front. Heavy push from Logano. Ryan Preece, does he stick it onto the outside with Chase Elliott right in front? Blaney trying to manage both lanes. At the same time as Larson on the outside, McDowell on the inside. Elliott moves out towards the outside. Last lap of stage 1. 1 to go as there's tire smoke on the outside. Staying green here as Blaney still managing the middle lane. Does he jump down low so has to block off McDowell. McDowell's a hard-charging Chevy. Side by side with Kyle Larson, another Chevy. Blaney managing both lanes as Larson, sees car shaking loose as Blaney moves low right in front of McDowell. Gets the jump. And Kyle Larson right next to Blaney. We have 35 laps here. We're in the 35th as such. And at the end, it is Blaney and Larson side by side. Kyle Larson surging to the front, and he'll win stage 1 of the Coke Zero 400. More misfortune coming for Alex Bowman. Larson says, I got your back. His teammate, nice finish as Larson charged up front and got those stage points that are so valuable. So after an hour, we finally come to the conclusion of stage 1. We're hoping that stage 2 sees less wrecks. But here, it is Larson, the stage 1 winner. So we're getting ready for caution flag pit stops here. Begin stage 2 before we get back underway. Right, with Brad Keselowski and the Consumer Cellular RFK Ford. A playoff hopeful trying to punch his ticket to the NASCAR playoffs. As Alex Bowman checks out from the infield care center on lap 38. Bowman will not finish this race. Currently 16th on the playoff standings. He will need to have a previous winner to win again, or in an unlikely case, Tyler Reddick to win. William Byron all the way back at 13th place after starting from the rear, overcoming that stop and go penalty, going a lap down. He was a lucky dog, and given that he avoided the big wreck at lap 27, he's in good position here as Bowman need to have a previous winner win. It'll be even sweeter for him if it's one of his Hendrick teammates in Byron, Elliott, or maybe even Larson, who has yet to record a restrictor plate win. William Byron has 2 Daytona 500 victories, over then coming back-to-back. There'll be a new winner of this event as Harrison Burton's competing at the Xfinity Series. Reddick has advanced. The gap between Alex Bowman and Chris Buescher is 49 points. Now Bowman is needing for a repeat winner. Remember that. There cannot be a new winner for Bowman to get into the playoffs. And in the top 10 are Larson, Chastain, Blaney, McDowell. It's the top 4: Chastain, Blaney, McDowell, Haley, Cody Ware, Todd Gilliland, Christopher Bell, SVG, Ty Gibbs, and Josh Berry. Here comes the field down pit road for their pit cycles. 4 tires and fuel for Kyle Larson. Chose pit stall number 41. And Michael McDowell was on the high line, getting 4 tires and fuel. Ryan Blaney as well. Josh Berry, same thing. Now Blaney's on his way out. And there are different drivers on different strategies. Keselowski, Suarez, Nemechek, Berry, Byron, Allmendinger, and Dillon. 6 drivers are staying out there on the track: Chastain, Ware, SVG, Gibbs, Joey Gase, and Tyler Reddick. We'll be right back from Daytona. Coke Zero Sugar 400. Thus, Kyle Larson wins stage 1. And with several more laps to go, getting ready for stage 2. On the way, all around. Daniel Suarez trying to make up all that ground here at the Coke Zero Sugar 400. Here at Daytona International Speedway, Tyler Reddick has already clinched. Now the last spot is going to come down here. Cody Ware, the new race leader, he is staying out there. In stage 1, Larson, Ross Chastain, Ryan Blaney, Michael McDowell, Justin Haley, Joey Logano, Todd Gilliland, Ryan Preece, Chase Briscoe, and Christopher Bell, the top 10 from stage 1. And here, I'll be getting things up and running. Well, we don't know who's going to emerge at the end here victorious because there have been surprise winners. Cody Ware's trying to be that surprise winner. So William Byron already clinched as the regular season champion. Brad Keselowski choosing the inside lane. Cody Ware going on the outside lane. He believes that the outside will give the long run and will give him much. So Byron is this year's regular season champion. Tyler Reddick has clinched. So it's unlikely that he's going to emerge as the winner. It is so close. It was so close that witness the jet dryer went by through the track. And there's a lot of smoke by the NBC Sports the NBC Sports booth near Pit Road, where Dale Jarrett and Brad Daugherty are. Oh my goodness, that was a very close call. So we'll be coming back on lap 42. Currently they are rounding turn 3. Byron did a stop and go on lap 1 because of inspection issues, so as we're recapping stage 1. Casey Mears spun on turn 4 on lap 11. Took himself out of the race. Todd Gilliland, Tyler Reddick, an accident on turn 4 on lap 18. And a 12-car accident on lap 27, including playoff hopeful Alex Bowman. So that is your recap of stage 1. Kyle Larson, stage winner. He's starting at the middle of this pack. Pace car is up, and the green flag is up. Here we go on stage 2. Brad Keselowski, a playoff hopeful, trying to win his way into the playoffs. Cody Ware jumps up to block him. He was one of those drivers that stayed out there. John Hunter Nemechek is moving up on the outside. Ware trying to win his way. He finished 4th last year. And Nemechek with the push on that outside with Daniel Suarez up at the picture. And here is Nemechek on the outside with the push. Nemechek with that push from William Byron, trying to overcome that early penalty. Ware is stronger on the corners. This immediately got the good restart and immediately jumped towards the inside, shuffling lanes. So Nemechek on the outside, long time in partner with Toyota. Took the Toyota path coming out the Xfinity Series. And it's Ware leading that lap. And Nemechek. And he is one of those drivers to watch here at Daytona, given that he did a nice night at the Daytona 500. One of those underrated drivers on super speedways. That third lane mounting up on that outside. Who's going to get that long run? Oh, Nemechek got a little loose. He saved the car, though. And Brad Keselowski not happy here. He's being very aggressive on Cody Ware, trying to work his way up front. And Nemechek moves outside, getting that lane build up from AJ Allmendinger, who was the control car on the outside lane. Watch for the 16, the Colleague Racing driver. 44 laps into this race. As Nemechek moving up front. Does Nemechek jump 2 lanes as Allmendinger and Nemechek go with one another towards the middle lane? Does that give the advantage to that outside? Cole Custer is also there on that outside lane. And don't forget about William Byron in the 24 as Daniel Suarez is left on the island on the middle. Josh Berry in the mix. Up from row 3. And 4 Fords over the front. As Nemechek moves back towards the middle. Carries on Allmendinger. 4 Fords on that low line. As Ware continues to lead this pack. The first 3 inside drivers being Ware, Keselowski, Berry, and Chris Buescher. You don't want to expend all that energy and don't use it up. Still pick up that dirty air. Eric Jones also in the picture in that Petty blue Toyota. Driving the 43. Made famous by Richard Petty. And Brad Keselowski continuing to push Cody Ware. Trying to get him off his groove. It allows the guys behind him to get the move on going. Do they move to the middle? Oh, at least most of them are moving towards the middle. Jones is staying put on the inside lane. First 5 drivers breaking free from this pack. Ty Dillon in the mix. Yeah, the first 4 drivers have broken away from this pack. And all of them are Fords. Ware, Keselowski, Berry, and Buescher. And remember what I said, keep an eye on the 43 of Eric Jones. He is in the mix in that Petty blue Toyota. You do some good teamwork with John Hunter Nemechek. Christopher Bell also in the picture. He jumps to the outside lane. Jones sticking with Chase Elliott. The number 9 Napa Auto Parts Chevy. Logano fading further back. On the inside lane as it's dissipating from traffic. In the inside lane working on the bottom. One of those drivers switching lanes here. We're 47 laps in. Still, Ware trying to pull off the upset special. We saw an upset special last year of Harrison Burton. Could Ware make that happen? That inside line has basically disappeared from view. And only 2 drivers are on the inside. Those being Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney. Chase Elliott jumps towards the outside, which leaves Eric Jones all alone. It's basically a freight train on the outside. Basically nobody trying to make a move. It would be expected a car to come around as Brad Keselowski rolls, and whoa! He couldn't put any gas because of that. As the 78 was coming around. You see if being short on gas affects Keselowski. There was an erroneous stop on pit road when the RFK Racing crew of the number 6. It was short on fuel. We'll see if that affects the number 6 Ford. 2 lanes here. Mostly it's on the outside lane. Have to see if that middle lane continues to develop. The inside has completely vanished. It is no longer there. Now they try to go down low and try to reestablish the middle lane. Let's see if Brad Keselowski can jump out up front and try to make the move. Will anyone make the move? The inside is trying to get reestablished again, but nobody is budging. It's not like what happened here at the Daytona 500 where there's free wide racing all around. There's instances between Ryan Preece, Noah Gragson, Austin Cindric, and then later Cindric, Bubba Wallace, and William Byron. And they're wide open on the throttle. On gear 5, Chase Briscoe jumping towards that middle lane. As Eric Jones is settled onto that outside. Let's see if there's going to be a big push on that middle. Little park throttle as is coming up. Still park throttle as Briscoe building up that middle lane. Let's see if there's someone joins along with them on that inside because that inside lane is building up. William Byron all the way back at 14th. Not full throttle here as they're all controlling. Ware still leading this pack. Trying to pull off the upset. So Chase Briscoe still leading the way among the Camrys. Let's see if Ware can jump up front to block off. Wants to get close enough as Briscoe mounting a run. He's being pushed by Tyler Reddick. Briscoe almost squeezed the gap between Eric Jones. And I believe that is Christopher Bell on the outside. He fits the outside. And so it's Reddick who's building up on that middle lane. With the push from Justin Haley. Teammates working together as Briscoe joins Bell. And over at iRacing, it says to simulate this whole package. So you have 1% throttle. You're a little over 5 miles for every gallon that you save up. Then you have another car, you have 65% throttle, but you're 6.1 miles per gallon. So an extra quarter lap be leading the way. And how and why it could. So that front car is pushing all the air further back, 100% drag, and it's pushing all the other cars carrying along with it. The one that's behind 65% throttle has 50% drag. Tyler Reddick is trying to fit that gap, but there is nowhere to fit that gap to as cars go by later on. So the first car would be 1% throttle, and then the other cars would not be at full throttle. That middle lane is fading, but they need to get reestablished here. That momentum. There is a lap car ahead as Cody Ware continues to lead the way. 17 laps into stage 2. One car off the pace. I believe that is the 17 of Chris Buescher that is off the pace. Great shot there for Tyler Reddick as he had a lot of damage on the front of this car. So the damage was mostly the ductwork as Reddick fading further back. Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson together here on the outside of Reddick. He should be okay for the rest here. He has 9 top 10 finishes in 2025. This year, that is. His best finish, second place at the Daytona 500. There's a lot of racing left to decide. So far, Cody Ware being the dominant car of his second stage. He was one of the few cars that stayed out there when there were caution flag pit stops at the stage break caution. He's fortunate enough to pull. Actually, scratch that. It was not Chris Buescher, one of the lap cars, as Buescher is running 4th. They need to pick up that drag. So Cody Ware, Brad Keselowski, Josh Berry, Chris Buescher, Ty Dillon. The first 5 cars here, we're staying with you here. 19 laps into stage 2. So we're going to be observing here. That outside lane being strongest. It's the one with the most cars. As that inside lane fading further and further back. And it's actually forming what is known as the freight train. Where it's a single file and nobody is making moves. Michael McDowell also part of that inside lane. And so far, this stage has been tame in comparison to what we saw over stage 1. Where Reddick got spun out by Todd Gilliland when Gilliland misjudged the block. Ryan Preece also building up that inside lane. Or rather, that middle lane, that is. Getting into lap 55 of this race, still with Ware on the lead. That middle lane building ground now as they're all storming back. Bubba Wallace, Austin Cindric, and Alex Bowman watching the rest of this race from their haulers. Want to see if one of their teammates can win this. But for Alex Bowman especially, he needs a previous winner to win this. Chastain with that push on the outside as pulling out a line for that outside is Ty Dillon trying to gun for it. Pulling out a 5th spot to build that inside lane as Justin Haley with him. Ty Dillon, also one of those drivers trying to pull off an upset special. And now here's Dillon trying to test for the lead. Does Ware jump down low to block him off? It'll still be Ware leading, but Ty Dillon is going for it. And here he is, moving up to second and now first place. He takes the lead away from Cody Ware as he goes for it on the inside lane, has Haley to help him out. One of the better super speedway drivers and a previous winner of the Coke Zero Sugar 400, trying to win his second Coke Zero Sugar 400 and get Spire Motorsports their first win since he did it since that race at 2019. Spire Sports Entertainment owns several hockey teams in the ECHL. He also participated at the Craftsman Truck Series and the Arca Menard Series. In the Truck Series, of course, fielding 71 of Raja Karuf and the 77 of Andres Perez de Lara. Ty Dillon and Justin Haley at the front. They are the race leaders. They go around a lap car. Change over the front. That is Dillon into number 10. As Ware is fading back. Now leading the way. Dillon jumping towards the high side. So as to block off Ware, who was in second. Now moves back with Haley. Chevy with Chevy. Ford with Ford. Now Keselowski giving a shove on Ware. Is there going to be a third lane building up soon? There was a third lane in stage 1. But here it's been mostly 2 lanes as Dillon working both lanes. And now Dillon with the block on Ware so as to block him off. And now another push from Brad Keselowski. Michael McDowell on the side as Dillon blocks Ware again. Over at this front stretch. Does that give the advantage to Justin Haley? Now Ty Dillon jumps towards the low line to block Haley. They're all winless on the year. Ware, Haley, Dillon. And Ty is looking to join his brother Austin on the win column. Looking to deliver Kaulig their first win since the 2023 Charlotte Roval race, in which AJ Allmendinger won. And now Haley, with the push from Michael McDowell, up towards the front. Spire Motorsports working on the inside. Cody Ware, he tried to squeeze the gap. Thought better of it, because that would have triggered the big one again. The Kaulig race car, strong on super speedways. And Ty Dillon, the leader now. Alex Bowman, anxiously watching onwards. If there is a repeat winner, Bowman is in. If there is a new winner, that winner is in. Ty Dillon jumps up front and blocks Ware again. And Ty Dillon said a couple races ago that he loves the atmosphere at Kaulig Racing. At the culture there, they have to decide to run well. Their engines from Earnhardt Childress Racing. As Earnhardt Childress engines. Brad Keselowski trying to push his way up front. Does he go towards the low line to pull out a line and join Justin Haley on that line? He's not far enough for that. And trying to accomplish that call, you want to ask yourself, do I have enough fuel? Brad Keselowski, that fuel was the concern here. And does he have a long enough run? That's another one of those questions. And now Ty Dillon takes Cody Ware with him towards the inside lane. And Michael McDowell with crew chief Travis Peterson. He took over from Front Row Motorsports as Dillon jumps low. And they want to go here. Drive full speed, full throttle. You want to pull up in front of the outside line as Dillon managing both lanes. Does that inside get another push? Joey Logano as part of that inside line. Does he bounce back here after a slow start here in stage 2? Still it's 2 lanes as Dillon jumps to the high side. Further back, I believe it's Denny Hamlin who was involved on that crash at lap 27. That was the last caution for a crash. It involved 12 cars. Hamlin's down a lap. So Ty Dillon jumping up again. So far, so good by Dillon to manage both lanes and playing defense here at the front. Ryan Preece, who is in the middle of this pack, has to go on the offensive. Has Chris Buescher next to him, who is similarly wanting to go on the offensive. But Ty Dillon is so far so good managing both lanes. So the little bike's Ford, driving the number 60. He almost won at Richmond last week. It didn't work out that way. 2 years ago, he had a horrible crash here on the backstretch at Daytona in the Coke Zero Sugar 400, in which he barrel rolled 12 times in the air. So all 3 RFK Fords are in contention for a win here. But can any of them test the 10 car of Ty Dillon? 28 laps into stage 2, and so far, so good from Dillon in managing both lanes. There's a third lane that is building up, and a lap car that is in the way. That's the 38 of Zane Smith. He's going to be in the middle of this pack. He's going to get caught up as Dillon jumps low. Everyone moves out of the way so as to give room for Smith to maneuver around, because he would not be caught up in what could be a horrific wreck. The third lane building up with Todd Gilliland in the 34. Eric Jones also there on that outside lane. So far, there's mostly 2 lanes here, but now we have a third lane building up. We'll see if this goes wonders. Daniel Suarez and Shane Van Gisbergen are side by side. Trackhouse teammates. So far, no momentum on the outside lane. Does anyone else move to that outside to build up momentum? Does Chase Briscoe go for it? Ty Dillon, the bracket buster in the in-season challenge. Joey Logano, a 3-time Cup champion. 1 win this season, that is at Texas. He has 6 drafting track wins. One of them being in the 2015 Daytona 500. And the outside's building up. And Justin Haley moves to the outside. Ty Dillon and Michael McDowell carrying on as Dillon jumps up, walks off the outside, preventing a run from Haley. Does that give the run for McDowell? Now Dillon goes back to block McDowell off. Middle, low, high. Dillon has to block 3 lanes. Now he jumps to the low side. As he blocks off Ross Chastain, he hits a huge run on that inside lane. Now Dillon has to go towards the outside. Can't do so as Justin Haley is right on his doorstep. Now Ross Chastain to the lead. SVG is also there. Ryan Preece as well. Chastain, the winner of this year's Coca-Cola 600, is there with Ryan Preece. Be careful not to turn one another around, Ryan. 30 laps gone here. Chastain, the new leader, has Preece in tow. Now Chastain is a winner before. Shane Van Gisbergen, a 4-time winner in this year's Cup Series, has never won on an oval track or drafting track. SVG trying to pick up his first such win here. All of his wins have come on road courses, driving the number 88 Red Bull Chevy. And he's working with Chastain. The other Trackhouse car, Daniel Suarez, is further back. The number 1 and the number 88 working with one another. McDowell and Logano. McDowell formerly a Ford driver as Preece, as he walked away unharmed for the most part at that horrific accident on the backstretch 2 years ago in the Coke Zero Sugar 400. Moving up on that outside. A brutal impact. And then earlier this year, Preece went up and over a turn 3. Now Chastain and SVG side by side as they're battling for the lead with one against one another. 2 Trackhouse drivers. And it's SVG rocketing up front. But not before a pushback from Chastain. Ross Chastain, Shane Van Gisbergen thought they were working together, but these 2 teammates are wanting to go for the win here. Chastain wanting to get a second victory. Preece doesn't have a drafting partner, now he does. Chastain moves back with Ware on that inside lane. Preece stuck up on that middle. SVG leads that lap. And Chastain moving towards that middle. Picks up Preece. Michael McDowell also there. And SVG moving back with Chastain. Teammates working together once again with Trackhouse. And Cody Ware. Upset candidate. And many were discussing about. Chastain and SVG. Regulars on the Cup Series as Van Gisbergen jumps to the high side, blocking off McDowell. And super speedways. Not SVG's his specialty, but Shane Van Gisbergen having to manage 3 lanes now as he moves to that middle with that big push from Chastain on that middle lane. And Van Gisbergen driving the Red Bull Chevy. And the number 88. He got that number with the blessing of Dale Earnhardt Jr. As Justin Marks asked him, Cody Ware is also there on that inside. And the number 51 Arby's is Ford for Rick Ware Racing. Still it's SVG over the front, but that drafting help from that dirty air could help things out. Watch for the number 20 of Christopher Bell, who's right behind Ware. And Ware gunning for the lead again. On that inside. Bell's not going away. He can go 3 wide here with no repercussions. 4 wide's a different story. Now Ware falls further back. We are 70 laps gone here. Or 70 laps into this. We're entering lap number 70. Lap car ahead. That's the 33 of Austin Hill for Richard Childress Racing. And SVG maneuvers around that lap car, so with the rest of this pack. Be careful not to bump into one another. Oh, their cars are fading further back. That's the 99 of Daniel Suarez and the 21 of Josh Berry. They're fading further back because that lap car was up ahead. Austin Hill didn't get out of the way. And everyone else is paying the consequences because of that. SVG and Chastain on the outside. As Suarez fades, so did Berry. Michael McDowell up at the front as he is the new leader. 3 wide all around behind him. He can manage super speedways nicely. Jumps to the outside. Is there anywhere for the drivers that are further back to go through? Here's Ware to the lead. Now SVG. Does he go anywhere? Jumps up high on the outside lane. Does Ware block off the outside? He's sticking with the inside, carrying Chase Briscoe with him. Staying there as it is now. Shane Van Gisbergen moving up, gaining momentum from the outside. All Chevys on the outside. Him, McDowell, as SVG blocks Ware. They all move to the middle. As they're routing around the tri-oval, we'll see if anyone has enough to make it through the rest of the stage, or if we're going to have green flag pit stops. Shane Van Gisbergen in that Red Bull Chevy, a Red Bull athlete, so it's Connor Zilish. Trackhouse is so excited to have him in the Cup Series next year when he joins their Cup program. The SVG riding all around that inside. The last race of this regular season as Briscoe locks on to Larson. Jumps towards that inside lane. Shane Van Gisbergen. Alex Bowman, who is no longer driving in this race. He has to hope for a repeat winner. 28 points above the cut line. John Hunter Nemechek in the middle of this pack. Hendrick teammates need to work together. William Byron, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson. And Bowman would love to have a Hendrick car win this race. Elliott is on the right side of Nemechek. Larson is right in front of Bell. Byron a row back of Larson. Now he's on his doorstep. And McDowell testing up front on that outside. Gets that big push from Chastain. Chastain is not close enough to latch onto SVG. McDowell will. A 3-time Supercars champion is Van Gisbergen. He won his Cup debut at the Chicago Street Race in 2023. 81 Supercar wins and a 3-time champion of the Australian Supercars. 2016, 2021, and 2022. Michael McDowell, Shane Van Gisbergen. They have alternated between the lead here and the recent laps. As Cody Ware is fading further back by a little bit. Chastain on that outside. More wins on road courses is SVG. A lot of people were asking if he can hold this up on Super Speedway. So far, he is driving nicely as Ryan Preece gives Van Gisbergen a big shove and a big draft all around. Michael McDowell gets around him. Guns for the lead. Full send as Chastain jumps to the middle. SVG knows that Chastain's there. Can't block him up, and Van Gisbergen is stuck. He has nowhere to go. But now he sticks towards the middle. Chastain moves around him. Ryan Preece. Van Gisbergen fades further back. That middle lane disappears. Larson carries Christopher Bell and Chase Briscoe with him. A lot of shuffling here in the later laps. Cody Ware fighting back. Chase Briscoe carrying him. Chastain towards that middle. And Ware guns up front. Has the lead. Brad Keselowski on an aggressive shove several times on Logano as Chastain pushes up front. And they're side by side for the lead. As Briscoe right behind Ware. Cody Ware, his third full-time Cup season, his best career finish 4th last year. the Greensboro, North Carolina native. Chastain moving towards the outside. Ware's excited about tonight. Using the motivation from last year, so that's again upset special. And he still thinks he has a great shot. Ware still on the lead. Rounding around turns 1 and 2 is Logano going for it. So Ross Chastain setting that lane. And that middle line is fading further back as Ware also fades. Logano at the lead now. Keselowski there to carry him on. Former teammate at Penske. Now Keselowski has his own team. Logano moves all the way to the bottom and blocks Ware. One of the best super speedway drivers in NASCAR. As he gets all that momentum from the outside and makes his way towards the front. Ryan Blaney is all the way at the back, however. Logano has to manage 3 lanes. He has Keselowski with him. Another super speedway savant. And as a veteran, he is getting better and better at calculating how much fuel is on board. And because Ware has 20% fuel remaining, we'd imagine that at some point he'd have to come to pit road to get more fuel. Right below the apron is Zane Smith as he makes way for the main impact to drive around. So Ware's on 20% fuel. We'd imagine that he's going to have to pit for fuel. Joey Logano is in good hands. Chase Elliott, one of the biggest risers here, is all the way up to 6. So here's Logano, who is leading. Cody Ware also there. And now as Ware moves to the inside. And when he pitted, it was before this SH brake caution. So do you keep an eye on that? If he has to pit before the end of the stage, what he's hoping for is a caution to come out. As Keselowski gives Logano an aggressive shove on the inside. He takes Elliott with him. Ware stronger on the corners. As Ware moves up and gets the burst from Briscoe and Christopher Bell. Nice run from Cole Custer on that low line. The outside lane is fading. 17 laps to go as Ware and Briscoe break away from the pack. No cautions to speak of in stage 2. A lot of that lane didn't work out as Bell wanting to move towards that middle. Briscoe trying to move up. Briscoe trying to put on that crossover, and he does. He completely faked out Cody Ware. Ware fades further back. Briscoe and Logano rocket up front. Couple teammates helping one another, including some former teammates in Logano and Keselowski. Now it's Briscoe and Bell with the run. And Ware is left on an island with Ross Chastain. As everything goes sideways for Ware as he fades further and further back. Cole Custer, another driver who's on the watch for upset special. He'll come for the lead from Briscoe. 16 laps to go. As Ware is completely out of the top 10. It is Custer, Briscoe, Priest, Bell, Logano. They're all shuffling around here at the front of this pack. As Custer in the 41. Getting that seat after the sale of Stewart-Haas Racing's charters. Now it's Haas factory team as Briscoe is fighting back. Custer and Priest, 2 Ford drivers in the mix. Now we have green flag pit stops underway with 15 laps to go as Custer holds his lead. McDowell, Ware, they're both off. Allmendinger as well. Ty Dillon on his way too. Most of these cars have enough to make it on their way on fuel. Lap car on that outside lane. They're going to have to make way around. And I believe that is the 78 of BJ McLeod. That is the lap car. Or rather, it's the 44 of Joey Gase. So everyone has to move around and give way as further back is Shane Van Gisbergen as he lost a lot of momentum with Cody Ware fading all the way back. He's off to pit road as a result. Several cars are losing a draft. The 45 of Tyler Reddick. Going nicely right behind the 17 of Chris Buescher. And smoking the tires. No caution yet. Is Carson Hocevar. Hocevar smoked the tires as he lost all that momentum. Now he has to come all the way to pit road. He smoked the tires. They're all the way behind. There is smoke coming out from him on the outside. And now he lost all that momentum. The tires smoked again. There's a problem with that rear left tire of Hocevar. So he's off to pit road because of that. For an unscheduled pit stop. He's very slow on the track. There's a problem with him. Something may have broken on his car. So they're going to examine the damage. So far, calm here. As Custer maintaining his lead. Up at this middle lane. Hocevar still trying to make the long trip down. And I think he is stalling here. Hocevar may be stalling here, and the caution is out. Hocevar stalled on the track. Caution is out. He tried to make it all the way to pit road from the backstretch, but at the last moment, the car completely gave out. Something inside his car broke, which we imagine to have thought of. As we hear here, the 77 trying to make his playoff case. So he just missed a big wreck, but he was partially involved in that wreck in some capacity. It's the 77 is just stalled out on the track. And a nightmare year for Hocevar continues onwards. A year in which he thought he had big expectations for. Doesn't sound good. There was smoke inside that car. It's never inside. That's never a good thing. So it looks like the car may be killed. You see, there were some sparks flying around. There were some smokes. Maybe there's some smoke in the pipes. It's not tires. It's not tire smoke. And the engine completely expires for Hocevar. He could not make it back to pit road, so he's being pushed by one of the safety trucks. On the way back to pit road, we'd imagine that he had to go all the way to the garage to fix that issue of the engine, which completely expired down the backstretch. There might be a different plan for each car as they go into pit road. So Allmendinger and Ware made it to pit road. So now we'll see what the strategy is going to be for these drivers all around. With 12 laps to go, Denny Hamlin is the lucky dog. He'll make his way around. He's going to be the free pass and get a lap back. Hamlin getting the free pass. There may or may not be something up here. Hamlin does have damage on his front. The AMR safety crew monitoring all the statuses. With 12 laps to go in stage 2, it's been an eventful night for Hamlin. And there are still hopeful drivers trying to make their case on their way to the playoffs. Anything can happen here on a super speedway race. Hamlin's the free pass. Hocevar slowed off turn 4, and there was smoke coming out of him. You can't open pit road because the AMR safety crew. And Hocevar. And there are some cars that are trying to make it to pit road later. You'd imagine that Hocevar's car will have to get another push. So it'll be very interesting how Hocevar is going to handle this. But the absolute timing to put 4 tires in fuel. And so as to make it through the rest of this way, later onwards. But not exactly the rest of the way. We'd imagine that there'll be green flag pit stops at the midway mark of stage 3. We're past the halfway mark, and so far no rain has come down. And we're anticipating that the rain so that the rain misses Daytona International Speedway. As the night goes on, there'll be less of a likelihood for rain. There might be some isolated thunderstorms here. If there is lightning, the race will have to stop. Priest giving some comments with the one of Ross Chastain. So some guys don't work well together. And it's hard to explain that. But he said, you may not be able to push me, so that doesn't work for me. So SBG drove to the lead at Daytona. So do remember, next week, it'll be split between Darlington and Portland. Next week, it'll be Darlington Raceway for the Southern 500. I'll be covering that on Sunday night. So remember, Chase Briscoe is the defending race winner. No driver in Cup Series history has clinched the pole in all 4 Crown Jewel races. Briscoe is trying to become the first driver to do exactly that. Pit crews are readying up for their drivers to come down pit road. Logano's pit crew, Haley's pit crew. You have to be very clear with your drivers. Here comes the field. If Custer leading that pack. Cole Custer, Ross Chastain, William Byron, Ryan Preece, the first 4 cars on this field. And it appears that Byron is staying out there. So Preece is pitting. There is 14 seconds for Preece, so it was a little longer than he anticipated it to be. It's a little snug. 12.9 seconds for Custer as he lost some traction with the STP Toyota of Eric Jones right in front. And Chastain first is the 4th one off pit road. Joey Logano is up ahead. 8 drivers have stayed out there. Byron, all the Hendrick drivers have stayed out. Ryan Blaney as well. So RFK Racing trying to win their way in. Oh, another instance of too early on the driving for Keselowski. We'll be right back. A lot of focus is on the fuel here tonight. It's John Hunter Nemechek in that connection here with the number 42 Legacy Motor Club Toyota. So sometimes the car doesn't stop. You have to know where they are. And remember, no spills. Because when you spill, it can ignite a fire at pit road. And that's what you do not want if you're one of these drivers. Rick Rosier Jr. is the fueler for John Hunter Nemechek. And the rear tire changers. Everyone's going up around. 9 laps to go. And everyone's getting set all around. Pace car lights are off. It'll be teammates side by side. Elliott and Byron staying out there on the front. Kyle Larson's right behind William Byron. Don't forget about Ryan Blaney, the pole sitter, who is restarting third here. Coming back to you with 8 laps to go. So everyone's getting ready here for the restart. And the conclusion of stage 2. Brad Keselowski is all the way back as the pace car is soft. Green flag is coming back up. And here we go for the end of stage 2. Side by side are the 2 Hendrick teammates, Elliott and Byron. Don't forget about Larson, who is right behind Byron, attached onto him. Ryan Blaney wanting to take this himself. Many have said that he's the best super speedway driver in the business. And by many facets, that is true. 8 laps to go as Byron gets a huge push from Larson. That outside with a huge push. Michael McDowell also there. Larson moves inside, shuffles Byron out. Whoa, Byron almost got to Elliott. Teammates. 4 Chevys at the front. Michael McDowell's trying to take it for himself. There's nobody on the outside because he'll be all left on an island. Byron to the lead with 7. Joey Logano moving up front, and Larson, he got shaken loose. He saved the car though. Many cars are trying to pull out a line to build the third lane that is building up from the outside. They gain momentum as Josh Berry pulled out. The newer tires may help out. And Joey Logano is going to be super aggressive here. Piece of debris flew down the backstretch as Logano trying to take it for himself, trying to squeeze by. A spark here in the middle of this pack as Logano tried to get by Larson. Now Logano will jump towards that low side. Byron blocks him off. And now Logano, he wants to take this for himself as everyone's catching up. Byron trying to manage both lanes. 6 laps to go. McDowell trying to pull out towards that outside. Have to be careful not to get left on an island. And there's a danger. McDowell lost the draft. And it's going to be in that sucker hole. No help for McDowell. He is fading further back in the pack. All the way back. He cannot get there. Now it's Logano at the front. All the way towards the outside is William Byron. Goes inside aggressively with the push from Larson. Chase Briscoe there. The 3 Hendrick teammates still out there. Byron, Larson, Elliott. All working together. But don't forget about Ryan Blaney, who is right behind Chase Elliott. Still with Logano as he's controlling the outside lane. 5 laps to go. Chase Briscoe jumps up high and then back down low. Briscoe's going for it. He could not make that pass as Briscoe sends it down low. Carries the Hendrick teammates with him. Briscoe out to the front as Byron trying to push right by. Joey Logano trying to rush it down low as Byron moves to that high line. Logano still sticking to the outside, has Ross Chastain with him. Now Briscoe, as he jumps to the high side to try to block off Logano. As Logano's getting that a huge push. Briscoe does block him. Now it's Byron. And be careful around that lap car of Hamlin. 4 laps to go in the stage. If the caution comes out now, the stage will be over. But do remember, they have to maintain speed coming to the start-finish line by the end of the stage. Briscoe's loose, but he does keep the race car with him. Have to tug onto this wheel as Byron trying to find a way around. Logano still aggressively in pursuit. On the outside, Michael McDowell tried to send it. Paid the price in doing so. You put tires on, you get the advantage being on those fresher tires. Briscoe does have those fresh tires with him. As Joey Logano trying to keep it up here with 4. Coming into 3 laps to go as they round this tri-oval. And Briscoe keeping himself afloat. 3 laps left of the stage. They're all to save here as Briscoe jumps to the low line. Inside these final 3 laps, pit road will close with 2 laps to go. Byron going for on the outside. Briscoe does impede his progress as Byron's one of the better super speedway drivers as well, also wanted to take the stage for himself. Now Byron shifts back towards the Hendrick cars. Now Byron under control on the inside. Has Logano on his right side. Briscoe jumps towards the low line. But does he leave that outside exposed to Logano? He won't, as he is managing both lanes. Super aggressive managing his two lanes. Now Logano trying to set it and move around. Briscoe caught in the sucker hole. And he's squashed on the middle side. Briscoe fades further back. Byron rockets to the front. And Larson, he has no help with him. Will anybody come to his aid? Has Briscoe on the middle side. The 90th Briscoe does pick him up. It'll be free wide on the middle. But will they build on that momentum? Is Logano at the front? And nobody there to help as Ryan Preece also there as he moves in front of Byron. Ross Chastain's pushing Joey Logano. It is Logano, Chastain, and Preece at the front. And Logano controlling at the point. Kyle Larson jumps up towards the low side. Last lap of the stage. Larson's able to move towards that low line. And Ryan Blaney moves towards the middle as they're free wide right behind Logano and Byron. Joey Logano, William Byron first and second. Watch those Hendrick cars as Byron's trying to send it. Outside lanes Chastain. As the outside lanes continue to form. Larson jumps to the middle again. Ty Dillon picking him up. And Chastain does have to push from Christopher Bell. Side by side are Logano and Chastain. Could this decide the stage? Watch for the Hendrick car, the number 24 of William Byron right behind and Logano. Is there going to be a move here on the final lap of the stage as they come to the line? Chastain on the book push on the outside. He wins the stage. He'll get the stage. Christopher Bell, second place. Logano, third. Byron, Nemechek, Blaney, Briscoe, Preece, Ty Gibbs, and Larson. And at the conclusion of the second stage, Chastain with a huge push so as to get the win in that stage. We'll see how the rest of the stage plays out. Chastain, your stage 2 winner here at Daytona. After coming back here for the start of stage 3, caution flag pit stops will be underway. We'd imagine that the Hendrick drivers and everyone who stayed out there for the rest of the stage will be on their way to pit road so as to get the necessary adjustments. We'd imagine that they'll be able to make it on fuel the rest of the way. How many overtime attempts it needs will be up for questioning. William Byron at pit road. So, and because of pitting when pit road is closed, he'll have to go to the rear of the field at the restart. Chase Elliott, same thing. He could not get stage points. He's going to get 4 tires and fuel as pit road was closed. So they'll have to go to the rear of the field because pit road was not open at that point. But they were able to risk it to try and get stage points. These two Hendrick drivers. Be a long and lonely ride for Byron and Elliott. On this long line, they'll have to start from the tail end of the pack. Remember, they do not want to get another caution. They'll push you in, but they don't want to push you around. And you can lose positioning very easily. There was arguing on the number 51 radio earlier. Cody Ware said that the team needs to just have one person tell him when he's pitting and not speak over one on top of one another. Spotter's question on why he didn't tell Ware to pit before the lap they were pitting. Spotter says that he didn't hear when they were pitting. The team called BS and said that they heard the crew chief tell him, heard him say copy. So Chastain, the winner stage 2. Alex Bowman still watching out to these Hendrick drivers as the whole field comes down pit road. Or the main part of the pack, that is. So Byron and Elliott will have to start for the rear because they pitted while pit road was closed. So John Hunter Nemechek getting 4 tires and fuel. Getting those fresh tires all around. Here at Daytona International Speedway. In this chaotic sequence, which still is yet to be decided, we still have some more racing around here at Daytona. Stage 1 and Stage 2 are both done. And as everyone is off of pit road, Kyle Larson pit with the main part of the pack. And we'll come back to you for the start of Stage 3 when we return. To go again with the official stage results of Stage 2, Ross Chastain, Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, William Byron, John Hunter Nemechek, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Blaney, Ryan Preece, Ty Gibbs, and Kyle Larson. Chase Elliott finished 13th, which is third among the Hendrick drivers among the 3 remaining, as he's putting gas onto the car. So you expect the gas to be very quick. Unfortunately, Chastain's getting a penalty for pitting outside his pit stall. Ryan Blaney tried to overhead, and Chastain had the nose of his car right on the line. So Chastain's getting penalized for pitting outside of his stall. So Chastain will go further back, and that way it ended up costing him. So Byron has to go back because he pitted when pit road is closed. He and Elliott had to drop to the rear, and that's going to hurt their chances. Chastain to the rear again, and he wanted to hear the thoughts of that pitcom. They were not happy about that. Lap 100 complete here under caution. But that was a huge disagreement, as Christopher Bell is the new leader. And Bell is hoping to get a win, his first since Phoenix. And a chance for drivers. And it will be a lot less for that, as Blaney is getting more fuel on the way back, as Chastain. It's more pit. It's Joey Logano. He's one of those drivers to watch here. He will be 11th on this restart. Christopher Bell restarting at the front. John Hunter Nemechek there as well. And Michael McDowell have a huge mistake at the last second as he pulled out of line trying to send it, but there was nobody there. Chastain and Elliott restarting at the rear. William Byron as well. There's several cars that are down several laps as they're all further back. And in this stage, we'll see how things hold up all throughout. Chastain is the last car on the lead lap. 28 cars on the lead lap. Hamlin is the first car that is a lap down. Carson Hocevar lost an engine on lap 81. There's 16 lead changes in this stage in total. Chastain won the stage at the end, and that was the last lead change on the last lap of stage 2. We'll see how stage 3 shakes up. Christopher Bell, John Hunter Nemechek on the inside. 2 Toyotas on the first and second as we're getting ready for the restart. Pace car is off, and we're ready to go here. Stage 3 is underway. Let's get rocking and rolling. Bell as Buescher pushing from behind. Does Bell jump up to attach onto Nemechek? That's 2 Toyotas with one another. Chris Buescher is the lone Ford in the front 4. Eric Jones helping out John Hunter Nemechek, the legacy Toyotas. First and second. Jones, a previous winner of this running. He has won it before, but not with Legacy Motor Club. That was in his days with Joe Gibbs Racing. 2018 edition of this race, in which he held off Martin Truex Jr. Nemechek getting pushed by Jones from behind, the 42 and the 43. 42 once driven by Lee Petty, the 43 made famous by Lee's son Richard Petty. Back in those old days of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. With Lee and Richard, the Lee driving the 60s, Richard in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And up until 1992. John Hunter Nemechek up at the front. And he's enjoying his time being attached with his teammate, Eric Jones. Those 2 Toyota Camrys working along nicely as Bell is on the outside. Has that run from Buescher from behind. Buescher and Preece working together, the 2 RFK Fords. They're up at the front. And what about Priest? He is also in the mix. I'm going to have to watch him as we're rounding around to the tri-oval. Bell leads that lap, I think. So Bell gets, once again, that huge push. That 20 is strong on the corners, but these two legacy Toyotas working nicely together. And don't forget about the free of Austin Dillon, who is right behind the 40 free of Eric Jones. Casey Mears has problems. He is way slow and off the pace. Able to keep his car afloat. Staying green here for the moment. No caution here yet. And we'd imagine that he is going to have to make it all the way to pit road. Do you remember what happened to Carson Hocevar earlier in this race? He slid loose and bumped into Todd Gilliland. Gilliland's able to keep it afloat. Daniel Suarez and Ross Chastain together. And Mears off the pace. Let's see if Mears is able to stay upright. As Bell, Mears has sparks flying out of him. Let's see if he's able to make it back to pit road. He is limping up around turns 3 and 4. Now he's able to get below the apron. Tire smoke coming out from him. And let's see if this vehicle stalls just like Hocevar's did. Rolling around pit road as one car is fading further back. And Buescher and Priest battling for a final spot. So are Nemechek and Jones. Trying to snatch it from Bowman. And now Nemechek is at the front. Watch out for the slow car of Mears, who is on to pit road. He is safely off the pit road, so they don't have to worry about that. Nemechek with the huge push. Jones working ahead. John Hunter Nemechek at the front. And Nemechek pretty good with where he's at. But he's still not clear of Bell. Bell around 1 and 2. And he's got to keep up this momentum. 2x2 around, all around this racetrack. And all around aggressive moves as Bell continuing to stick with Nemechek and Jones, the two Legacy Motor Club Toyotas. Legacy Motor Club did win before, but that was under a different name when they were Petty GMS Motorsports. They didn't rebrand until 2023 when they were Legacy Motor Club, when Jimmy Johnson joined on board as the principal team owner. He and Maury Gallagher together. Nemechek still controlling here in the early stages of stage 3. Ryan Blaney was the early dominant car up until that momentum was lost. Right afterwards, since Nemechek moves up towards the high side, now moves back with Jones. No momentum on that third lane that's moving on the outside, but the inside lane is moving strong with Nemechek, Jones, Austin Dillon, as Jones trying to move ahead of Bell, clearing him, and the two Legacy Toyotas moving ahead of the Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota of Bell, the number 20 Ream driver. Now that leaves Austin Dillon as the control car on the inside lane, the iconic number 3 made famous by the late Dale Earnhardt. Joey Logano is right behind him. He also dominated part of this race. He was in the mix to win stage 2. Right at the end when he was battling with William Byron, Michael McDowell, and later Ross Chastain. That inside lane is fading, the outside running strong. Those two inside lanes as Denny Hamlin has problems. Very slow and off the pace. Has a right front tire problem. And there is clear damage at the front. We'll see if this will result in a caution. As the leaders are rounding in turns 3 and 4. As the most of the pack. Hamlin goes below the apron. Gotta be careful, gotta be careful, gotta be careful. And now the caution's out. Hamlin has problems turning the car, so they necessitate the caution. And that caution saved all matters because that would have resulted in another horrific accident. Hamlin can't turn the car. You'll see what happened, but Hamlin's hopes are done. One of his tires blew out, from what is believed, and he scraped the outside wall. The tire rub is resulted that a rear tire blew out, and he was scraping the outside wall as a result. The NASCAR officials saw this, that he is having problems turning the car, and in all likelihood he'll have to go to pit road. He has problems turning this car. And Hamlin was very angry at the radio. How the bleep did we do this? As though Hamlin's hopes are done. So this car will be taken to the Joe Gibbs Racing Garage. A lot of problems on that number 11. It's still dragging out there. Has problems turning the car. He has troubles with the wheel as well. And if that's the case, you would think that he would stall out. And the trouble's continuing on for Hamlin as he is still around that wall. Leaders won't pit here. But we're still watching it. Hamlin is going to be able to go down below. He may need some help getting onto pit road and to the garage. But either way, his day's done. And you feel he's getting closer to that point. And people will think that they'll be going park throttle at some point. You remember, Nemechek is still the leader. He had Eric Jones behind him. Christopher Bell also in the mix. Austin Dillon, no slouch on restrictor plate tracks. And down the stretch, we think that have some yellow flags. 51 laps to go here from Daytona, and Hamlin's finally off. So the 11 has finally made it onto pit road. Front right is killed. There's trouble turning it. Let's see if he can stop. Is it going to work? Yes. Able to take off the damaged tire. So Hamlin's onto pit road. Heavy damage on his car on the front right. And if he can't go on the rest of the way here, need some more tires here on the right side. And Hamlin obviously disappointed because of the earlier wreck that he was involved in and some more damage that which was from that wreck. He was in line to be the lucky dog. You cannot benefit from the lucky dog position if you are the first car part of this lucky dog group. Austin Cindric is out. Bubba Wallace is out. Alex Bowman's out. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is out. Kyle Busch, Carson Hocevar, they're both out. Riley Herbst out. Noah Gragson out. Those are the cars that are out of this race. And Busch just returned to the racetrack. He is down by 64 laps. And Busch is just trying to log laps in. Not in contention for a win. He is down by 64 laps. You'd imagine that most of these cars are staying out there. They're comfortable with the fuel windows that they're at. And we've seen pit road filled with such action before and such chaos. But things are getting ready to get picked up here at Daytona. You remember, this is the final stage where everything is up for grabs. And things can really change the cohesion of the season. You can win your way into the playoffs. That happened with Eric Jones in 2018. Eric Jones 2018. And some upset victories such as Harrison Burton last year. Justin Haley, even though he was ineligible for points in 2019, he pulled off an upset special. William Byron, another winner of this event in 2020. Ryan Blaney 2021. Austin Dillon 2022. For Richard Childress Racing, sliding onto the rain. And Burton last year to deliver the Wood Brothers their 100th win. And perhaps that high five was ever so sweet. Lee Diffie and Jeff Burton up at the booth. Steve Letarte. It's so special between them. Now we have the whole pack coming onto pit road. The Legacy Motor Club Toyotas coming down pit road. John Hunter Nemechek, Eric Jones, Austin Dillon. And the number 3, Christopher Bell, also there. So Jones, just fuel for these guys. Bell, you want that extra grip with those left side tires. 7 drivers have stayed out. That is Shane Van Gisbergen, Cody Ware, AJ Allmendinger, Daniel Suarez, Tyler Reddick. Hang out there and fuel for Nemechek. And Nemechek, one of his pit crew members, spilled fuel on the track. Could he have victory in sight? Let's find out when we come back. Darlington is one of the hardest crown jewel races to win. It's the hardest one. It's a Darlington where it's more preferable to run the outside lane than the inside lane. Of course, things get heated in this intermediate track. Very unique. Denny Hamlin, previous winner on this event. Eric Jones, Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe, the previous winners of this event. Briscoe, the defending race winner. It's the final win for Stewart-Haas Racing as a team. Now he's at Joe Gibbs Racing. As the safety cars are still around, the AMAR safety crews inspecting damage. And still, they're not off. Cody Ware is staying out there, having the motivation to try to pull off an upset special. He's once again staying out. Question is, does he have enough? It'll be the beginning of the playoffs next weekend when everyone comes to Darlington. Ross Chastain, also part of this pack, up at the front. So Ryan Blaney is the second to last car on the lead lap. There's a lot of adversity being put his way. Placed third in stage 1, 6th in stage 2, 47 laps to go. And we wonder if there's going to be a caution later in this race that's going to impact a lot of cars on this field. Christopher Bell had several different spotters on the year. He has 10 stage points. This is their first super speedway race together that he has with his new spotter that he has. Did he listen to all the audio all together? So far, so good on the super speedway track. Driving the number 20 Ream Toyota. So that fuel stop didn't work out the way that they wanted to for John Nemechek. They're so upset because of that. It's that fuel can going outside and see if they can get a comeback. That fuel stop did not go the way that Nemechek and company wanted to. Let's see if they can bounce back. It'll be 46 laps to go as they round around the tri-oval. So Cody Ware going below the apron. AJ Allmendinger also going to pit road. So the rest of the pack is going on to pit road. So they're not going to stay out there. Daniel Suarez going to pit road in the number 99 Coca-Cola Chevy. So there's going to be a fuel stop. Nemechek taking 4 tires and fuel. And that did not work out well on the previous pit stop. So Chastain's going to get 4 tires and fuel. So Phil Surgeon and Ross Chastain are moving around this entire time as they go down pit road. Ryan Blaney is making his way to pit road too. He's there at the first pit stall. It's fuel only. And they're taking off the tapes that are at the front. And then Zane Smith beat him out. Let's see who has the advantage here on this restart. Donovan Hassler, Blaney's crew chief, into number 12. See if they can get another super speedway victory and mount a comeback here at Daytona International Speedway. Pace car lights are off. And it will be Austin Dillon and Joey Logano on the front row. So Logano and Dillon side by side. Eric Jones with Kyle Larson on the second row. Chris Buescher, Justin Haley, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Preece, Cole Custer, and Brad Keselowski to round it out. And we wonder if Buescher, Preece, and Keselowski are going to be working together up at the front. These cars have pitted on lap 111, and the rest of the pack pitted on lap 114 as Daniel Suarez will restart 16th. William Byron at 15th. Brandon Benesh, Dylan Spotter. You see he's restarting second. And remember, the track positioning is important in all races. And do not give up track position, says Dylan Spotter Benesh. And for that reason, Richard Childress, the car owner of the 3 and the 8, as the pace car is soft, green flag is up, gas pedals are down. Here we go. Excellent push on the outside. And Kyle Larson, Austin Dillon, one on top of one another as Dillon moves up front and Dillon moves low, blocking Logano. Joey Logano still looking for a lane here to move towards. Eric Jones and Chase Briscoe are right behind him. Dillon moves up back on top of Larson. Alex Bowman would like that if Dillon is at the lead. Same thing with Larson and Logano, but not Jones. As Dillon moves down low, blocking off Logano. Austin Dillon, who already clinched a spot at last week's Richmond race, leading a race high 109 laps. Dillon still holding on the super speedways as he still blocks Logano, as Logano trying to send it up at the front. These two working hard and try to get a win, which would help Bowman a lot. That's all that Alex Bowman needs. Austin Dillon managing both lanes, the outside lane just forming. Will any of the cars from the middle lane jump out to join the outside? And with Dillon be able to pull out back-to-back victories for the first time in his career. Logano's on his right bumper, or left bumper, I mean. And Logano gets that push from Erik Jones. 6 career Cup wins, 2 of them at Daytona. And Logano loses his track. Austin Dillon keeping a hold with 43 to go. And a 43. Still there, right behind Logano. The 43, the 21, and the 24 have never won in the same season in the history of the NASCAR Cup Series. Logano moves ahead. Big push to that 43 up at the front. But still is Dillon holding on to that middle side. Logano and Jones breaking away from the rest of the pack, which is led on the inside lane by Chase Briscoe. As Dillon, he looked at the high side. Logano and Dillon are still side by side. And here it is, still up around as they're battling intensely at the front. Logano eats that lap. They're still side by side with 42 laps to go. And this points battle is going to be one to watch. And if it is Logano and Dillon at the front, it's a battle for who will get their second win of the year. It's either going to be Alex Bowman or a new winner at this point. Tyler Reddick has already advanced. At this point, what Bowman needs is a repeat winner. Erik Jones is still there as he is aggressively pushing Logano to the front. But he is breaking away for the rest of it. Kyle Larson jumps to the inside. That puts Dillon at a disadvantage, and Logano has the lead for himself. Does that give the advantage to 43? 41 laps to go, and Logano is at the lead as he jumps to the high side, blocking Dillon. But now here comes Austin Dillon. Does he jump to the low side? Logano locking on to that low side. And Dillon still on that high line. Battling back. TJ Majors, the spotter of Brad Keselowski, formerly with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Still frustration with the 6 team as he is trapped further back in the pack. Logano managing both lanes. And Keselowski nowhere to go in the middle of this pack. And still it's 2x2 all around. Logano holding on to that top spot. Still 2x2 with 40 laps to go. The 43 right behind the 22. The back of the pack is fading away. Rounding around 1. And Austin Dillon trying to fight back. That outside lane with the push. The outside stronger on the corners, but the 22 is stronger on the back straight. But now here comes the outside, strong on the back stretch. Here's Austin Dillon moving up towards the front. Well, for how much longer? It'll be Logano. Stronger on the corners as he moves up front, blocking Dillon. Ty Gibbs, does he jump towards that inside? Logano at the front, and he jumps to the high side, blocking Dillon. The outside with the strongest run. They're organized 2x2. And you believe that on the outside lane, they'll be getting to push back. Tyler Reddick, part of that. Erik Jones and Austin Dillon now side by side for second. Keselowski a little frustrated. And you can't go lackadaisical or backwards. The outside lane with the strongest run. Not a lot of offense here as they're all locked onto this gridlock 2x2. And a very wide racetrack that can fit a 3-wide battle. But Talladega can fit a 4-wide battle. Here's Erik Jones as he moves up. The number 43 car. That is not what Alex Bowman needs. Logano, Jones, Dillon, Haley, and Larson as Austin Dillon moves up. The first 2 cars separating themselves on the outside lane. Logano carrying Dillon with him. Logano and Dillon's shifting over towards the inside as they have the strong run. Erik Jones carries on with Dillon and Logano. They shift towards the outside. Kyle Larson trying to get his first restrictor plate track win. It will be a much sweeter victory for Hendrick Motorsports. And in a way, a victory for Alex Bowman as he clinches the final playoff spot if there is a repeat winner, whether it be Logano, Dillon, or Larson, or someone else who has previously won a race before. You can also have Tyler Reddick win in the race, which is acceptable. But he cannot have Erik Jones, Justin Haley, Ryan Preece, Ty Gibbs, or Cole Custer to win. The only new winner that will be acceptable for Bowman is Reddick, who's aforementioned. John Hunter Nemechek is way further back. Logano, Austin Dillon, Erik Jones, the front three. As Larson's losing spots. Now here's Suarez as he is trying to form an outside lane. It is a middle lane as Larson, the inside lane once again stronger on the corners. Suarez trying to form the outside. They're rounding around the tri-oval with 36 laps to go. Suarez won a restricted plate track before. Atlanta Motor Speedway 2024 in the spring race. The free wide finish that was widely likened to the photo finish in the first Cars movie. Between Strip the King Weathers, Chick Hicks, and Lightning McQueen. Still, it is Logano at the front three, controlling their own destiny. Michael McDowell is at the inside of John Hunter Nemechek. You'd imagine that there are some blind spots there, and there's a squeeze on the outside. Austin Dillon and Kyle Larson. Larson moves up as he blocks off Dillon. Larson trying for his first super speedway win, but he still has Logano to go by. And Logano is very good at super speedways. Round 1 and 2, that inside gaining momentum, but they're free wide right behind Larson. Still, this is chaos here on this restrictor plate track. As Christopher Bell has a lot of ground to make up, but he is trapped way back at this pack. Here at Daytona. 35 laps to go, 3 wide. And Chris Buescher up to second place as he blocks off Larson. Austin Dillon all the way back at 4th has Erik Jones behind him. Briscoe a little loose. He manages to keep the car. Logano pushed by Buescher. Buescher to pusher. And it feels like a free wide gridlock all behind the free of Austin Dillon. The first car up to the outside is Ryan Preece. And if Preece is close enough, does Buescher pull out and try to get a run going here? But we'd imagine that Logano will be up there to block, and indeed that's what happens. And the frustration is going to happen here. Logano won the very best at super speedways. Same thing with Ryan Blaney. Team Penske, one of the best teams driving at super speedways. And here's Austin Dillon. As he moves out of Chase Briscoe, he is side by side with Logano. The outside lane getting the biggest push. Custer's a little loose. 33 laps to go. Custer trying to gain up ground. Chase Briscoe's there. Austin Dillon moves up right in front of Custer. A shove to the free as they're all battling for positioning. Logano still the control car. He is on the outside. They have the strongest run with Chase Elliott building up momentum. Erik Jones in the iconic 43 STP scheme. As Briscoe is up at the front of the middle lane in the Bass Pro Shops Toyota. And here is Briscoe jumping to the low side. Logano blocking off him. Logano very good at playing defense here. He's one of the best defenders in NASCAR. Logano moves up and blocks off Buescher with 32. But Briscoe is catching up. Briscoe moves to the middle. Joins the fellow Toyota driver Erik Jones as they latch onto one another. Here is Preece on the back bumper of Larson. Briscoe with the push from Austin Dillon. Logano getting ahead once again, managing to block him off. He's having to manage 2 lanes here. And if Jones is close enough, you can make that 3 lanes. And because of that block, Briscoe is fading further back. And it feels like everybody is getting instruction on how to handle this. It's Briscoe once again going over to Jones. He said, let's try this again. Drift that middle lane, get that dirty air, move towards the inside. Now he's back on the middle. And it's going to be key here towards the very end as Briscoe towards the middle as with 31 laps to go. It's been Logano here in stage 3. The best car here in stage 3 is at the front of this field. Has Briscoe right behind the middle lane. And you anticipate that Logano's going to move down the block because Briscoe's moving closer. Not close enough yet, but that middle line is gaining ground. Keselowski a little frustrated as Austin Dillon is shaking a little loose. Briscoe picking up that low side. He's managing 2 lanes here. And Logano, of course, anticipating where Briscoe's coming from, having to play blocker. And since he is at the front, of course, there's going to be a lot of chaos here when the later laps come. You can know when the big one's coming. 30 laps to go, and it's Logano followed by Buescher, Kyle Larson, Ryan Preece, Chase Briscoe. Briscoe's running very good here on this middle lane, with Eric Jones as his pusher, Justin Haley behind Jones, and the STP Toyota. Briscoe up to second, gaining ground. When does Logano block? Coleman Presley. We're having a list. Coleman Presley giving the instructions to Logano. Logano doesn't block as Briscoe pushing for the lead with Jones right behind, and it's Briscoe side by side with Logano. Middle and high lanes being the strongest. Keselowski's moving momentum. Logano by a fender at that line. As Briscoe is too wide at this moment. That inside lane is fading away. Now Briscoe and Logano are side by side. These two are the strongest cars at the front of this field. Now the outside, once again, getting the advantage. With Buescher being the pusher. Huge shove from Buescher as Larson's in the mix too. He is not one at a super speedway track. Ryan Preece trying to make up and get redemption from the earlier crash this year at the Daytona 500 and redemption from 2 years ago with his barrel roll crash at this event, the Coke Zero Sugar 400, in which Buescher was the winner. And she was working with 2 other Fords, Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski. The lanes are about the same. It is 2 wide gridlock. Still holding all around as Coleman Presley doing a good job. From a great racing family is Logano sticking with that outside lane. With Buescher. Toyota on the inside. Ford on the outside. That's where we're standing here with these 2 leaders. So Logano managing both lanes. Partial block on the inside lane as they go around the lap car of Austin Hill and Zane Smith. 27 laps to go. That outside is strongest all around as Buescher gets the huge push. Ryan Preece helping out that outside. But here's Briscoe alongside that inside lane. So who do you trust more here in these situations? As Larson, he doesn't have any teammate help here. Eric Jones got a little too close to Larson, or rather the reverse. Eddie DeHaan, the spotter for Justin Haley, formerly the spotter for Chase Elliott. And very methodical is Logano at blocking off these 2 lanes. And it was with 26 laps to go. It is still Logano at the front. And it's going to be a thrilling finish as Briscoe jumps up ahead on the inside. Moves up front. And is wanting to take the lead away from Logano. Still they're attached side by side. On the inside. This battle is going on for so long. Nobody has made a move yet to try and make a 3rd lane because that momentum has all but dissipated for this current moment. Briscoe's low. Logano's high. It's Briscoe trying to jump up high, and he does, blocking off Logano, giving him a taste of his own medicine. But that puts Jones on an island. Briscoe taking the lead here with 25 laps to go. Here in the Coke Zero Sugar 400. Briscoe won the pole at the Daytona 500. Now he's trying to make a full circle moment here, winning the Coke Zero Sugar 400. He won the Southern 500 last year, but now he has to block off 2 lanes. One led by Logano, right behind him, and the other by Eric Jones, who is fading back on that inside lane. But Jones doesn't want to be done with yet. in that petty blue Toyota. He is in row number 2, right next to Logano. But here comes Jones on the inside. Eric Jones testing for the lead. Chase Briscoe gets the push from Logano and stays with the lead with 24 to go. Buescher the pusher also there. Kyle Larson carrying on that momentum. Logano moves up with Buescher. A huge push on the inside, and Logano's back with the lead. Has Jones there. Justin Haley also in the mix. Logano 1 and 2 with Buescher, as Jones is also in that mix. Briscoe controlling the outside lane now. Logano controlling the inside as opposed to what happened last time around. But preferably Logano want to handle the outside lane, and he does jump in between the two lanes. He's at the low side. Does he jump up high towards that high line? He does so. There's a skirmish over at the middle of this pack. That appears to be the 21 of Josh Berry, who changed lanes, and he did, squeezing that gap. Here comes Jones on the inside lane. And one car to the wall. That's the 78 of BJ McLeod as he's going down low and below the apron. There's trouble on his right front. The 78 of BJ McLeod having trouble. And Eric Jones at the lead. And McLeod is limping down the backstretch with 23 to go. Jones at the way to the front, and he's jumping up. Can't make the block because he will get turned by Logano. Logano of a huge run up that outside. 22 to go. Logano controlling the outside lane. A third lane is getting mounted up. So he's gonna pull his. So McLeod's gonna pull his car away from the racetrack as both Logano and Buescher block off Jones. McLeod is away from the track. He is safe for the moment. So it's Buescher pushing Joey Logano towards the front. Eric Jones with the run. And now Briscoe's attached onto Buescher. Buescher way up. And Briscoe's way up high. Loses all that momentum. Caught in the sucker hole. There is no third lane there. And they're stacking up. Not literally right now, as is Logano pushing Eric Jones. Or rather the reverse, I meant. And Briscoe lost all that momentum being caught in that sucker hole. Still with Logano being the dominant driver of this race. As Eric Jones sent it down low. Briscoe had to get out the way as Buescher went on the run towards the high side, breaking up that draft, and Briscoe and the 78 with the problems as Jones with Buescher pushing him. Ty Gibbs there to help on that low side. Briscoe's there still at the high side. He has several drafting partners to help him now. That is the 16 of AJ Allmendinger. And now we have Logano back with 20 laps to go. Justin Haley in the mix as he's pushing Logano up on that outside lane. And Haley trying to send it towards the low side. Can't do so at this moment. And Haley wants to get the victory for himself. He gets Spire their second victory. Buescher won this race 2 years ago. Eric Jones won it in 2018. That's 7 years ago. Logano moves low to block Jones. It's Ford versus Toyota, but don't count out Chevy in this mix with Haley. And what about the 5 of Kyle Larson? Logano moves up. He has the speed. Buescher says he has the speed and the fuel mileage to catch up as Logano still controlling this race with 19 to go. And he blocks off Haley as well. He leaves that high side exposed or low side exposed as Eric Jones strong on this corner and gets that run up to the lead. Jones moves up to block Logano. There is Buescher on the low lane and it's Jones on the control. Joey Logano trying to take it himself. He moves towards the low side. You know how aggressive he is on super speedway tracks. Logano taking it back. Logano has Buescher to attach onto him. Jones is on that high side. Logano, low side. On through turns 3 and 4 is Logano. He has to be careful. Decides not to block off Jones because there was a risk of getting turned around. Jones leads that lap with 18 to go. Ty Gibbs is on the low lane, right behind Chris Buescher. And we wonder, what can Ty Gibbs do? Jones blocks. Joey Logano is trying to slow down the momentum on that inside lane. Jones trying to win his way to the playoffs just like he did in 2018. And still in control with that Petty Blue 43. And if you're Chris Buescher, how do you handle this? Logano, once again, huge push from Buescher. The inside has been aggressive here on the pushes with Buescher on Logano. Legacy Motor Club trying to win their way in. 17 laps left, and it's Jones with Haley to push him. But what does Jones do here when he goes to the front? Does he block? Can't do that because Logano's on his left side door. The outside lane still needs formation. It is still not going anywhere, but Eric Jones he doesn't have to finish this that he wants, but Jones owns the outside lane stronger down the back straightaway. Kyle Larson up there, they try to help out. He won here in 2018 as a member of Joe Gibbs Racing. The King, Richard Petty, has won 200 times in his NASCAR Cup Series career. As Briscoe jumps towards the inside lane, further back in the pack, 16 laps to go. Jones, Haley, Larson the front three. But don't forget about Logano on the inside lane. He dominated much at this stage, but Eric Jones trying to win his way in. Logano aggressive on the corners through 1 and 2 with that push from Buescher. Getting back up towards the lead, testing Jones. But still the outside lane stronger on the long straightaways. Still Jones cannot make the move because Logano is on the left door. And Logano trying to take back the lead. AJ Allmendinger way off the pace. Is going to go to pit road. And BJ McLeod made it all the way back to pit road. Leader is Jones with 15 to go. On that playoff bubble is Jones at the lead. It's not what Alex Bowman would want. If Logano were to win this race, it will bode very well for Bowman. Don't forget about Chris Buescher. He needs a win here too. Allmendinger off the pace. He dropped below the apron. So Jones and Haley one atop another. Colleague Racing have AJ Allmendinger, road course ringer, and Ty Dillon with his experience at super speedways. There is lap traffic ahead. And that's going to be detrimental to that inside lane. Austin Hill and Zane Smith, they need to move out of the way. Most of this pack making a way around safely. Chase Briscoe, almost got there very dangerously. 14 laps to go. As Logano still up at the front at the turns 1 and 2. Just like that, with 14 left. Jones has to run on the back straightaway, as has been the case all throughout these longer runs. As Jones, yes, once again, both of these times, the outside lane strongest on the back straights, and Logano, as he rockets back up, trying to break up that outside lane and trying to slow down the momentum, he is back on the lead. And Ty Gibbs also in the mix as Logano blocks Jones with 13 to go. Logano trying to win again at a super speedway track, and Jones trying to move towards the inside, can't make the pass. Chris Buescher's also in the mix. Buescher's trying to send it here. And Paul Wolf at the 22, so strong at the super speedway track. Penske, very strong at super speedways in the next gen era. Logano trying to get his second win of the season, as well as trying to send Alex Bowman to the playoffs. Chris Buescher tried to spoil the party for Bowman. To Coleman Presley, and Logano's turn! Trying to get the car straight, and all that momentum was lost. Eric Jones back up to the lead. Worst case scenario for Eric Jones, or rather Alex Bowman, the caution's out. Logano is at the grass. And now he's stuck at the grass. The frustration in Joey's voice. This was such a good day for Logano. There was contact with Chris Buescher too, as he tried to go low. He gets turned by Jones initially, but it was just him. It was very slight contact with Jones, and it just turns him around. Buescher gets a bump up as well. Worst case scenario for Alex Bowman. What kind of damage did Buescher sustain? And with 12 laps to go, can you come down to pit road at this scenario? So a lot of movement here from the camera angle. There are camera angles all over the racetrack. The realistic scenario is that Kyle Larson gets the win, either him or Chase Elliott. So Eric Jones have a light tap. The 43 has not won since the Southern 500 in 2022. So with Logano being turned, his car was stuck in the grass. It was such a good day for Logano too. It's frustrating that it had to end like this. Worst case scenario for Alex Bowman. Oh, what a rough day. A rough ending. This is not what Bowman wants. And a better angle is that Logano, it turns out 6 or 8 inches. He tried to go low, but gets turned by Jones and then gets clipped at the front by Buescher. Just a light tap by Jones is what sent Logano around. Didn't really hit him that much, but there was more contact from Buescher, if anything. Oof. The best driver of this race, gone. He did lose a lap. So these last 10 laps, everything will open up now for either a new driver, maybe one of the Hendrick drivers between Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and maybe even William Byron. Pit road's open now. Austin Dillon, Chase Briscoe, making their way down. And the cars that are going to go through here, they'll put some more fuel if in the event we go to a green-white checker. Josh Berry also onto pit road. No Briscoe. Brad Keselowski also in the pits. So Briscoe. Daniel Suarez also at the pits. So as Dillon managed to carefully get his way around Todd Gilliland, it's Josh Berry. First one off pit road. Staying with you with 10 laps to go. As Berry gets the first spot off pit road. So Bubba Wallace saying, I'll take the blame for it on the crash, but some saying it's not his blame to take. Though Larson and Logano do play a part. As we're here with 10 laps to go, we'll be coming back here in the waiting laps. drama is only intensifying. Last race of the regular season. Front row includes Eric Jones and Justin Haley. You go to a flashback of 1984 when Richard Petty won at Daytona in that year's edition of the Pepsi 400. The King taking home his 200th victory in the 43, now driven by Eric Jones, trying to deliver Legacy Motor Club a signature victory here. This team, which is led by, which front office brass led by Jimmy Johnson, Richard Petty, and Matt Kenseth, wanting to get another signature win for them. Eric Jones trying to win here at the World Center of Racing, but there's a lot of competition right behind it. That includes Justin Haley, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Ryan Preece. What is the finish going to be like here? Coming back with 8 laps to go. Green flag is back up. Let's get rocking and rolling. Jones, Haley, Larson, Preece, Elliott, Busher, Bell, Gibbs, Byron, and Custer at top 10 at this current moment. Side by side on a 2x2 gridlock are Jones and Haley and Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott pushing one another here. 2 Hendrick Chevys working together on the outside lane. Eric Jones is the only obstacle that stands in the way on the outside. And who's going to be the car that breaks away from this draft and makes a third lane mid-pack? Who is it going to be? Justin Haley fighting back on the inside. And don't forget about the RFK Fords, Preece and Busher. They're there. Ty Gibbs in the 54 in row 4. 2 Gibbs Toyota side by side. That's Gibbs and Bell. Side by side as Haley leads this lap with 7 to go. Selder side by side on the 2-wide gridlock as Jones gets the push from Larson. Larson has been improving his super speedways this year, but there's the fear of the big wreck that may be happening anytime soon. Jones still on the outside. Do you remember the outside lane was stronger on the back straightaway on the long runs when Logano was out there, but now that Logano was out of the equation, who's going to be the one to beat? Justin Haley with the huge push from Ryan Preece. The third line tried to get for him, but nothing comes out of it. They'll go back here on this 2x2 gridlock. Still it's side by side between Jones and Haley with 6 laps to go. Jones leads it, and his teammate environment really amping up. Larson and Elliott right behind Jones still. And don't forget, there are 2 other teammates right behind us. Haley gets a push from Preece and Busher. Which one of the teammates try to steal it for themselves? Would it be either Preece or Busher, or if it's going to be Larson or Elliott? Here comes Preece outside. Jones wiggles it loose. He saves the car though, but he has no help on that outside. He is fading further and further back. Ryan Preece, drivers outside. Justin Haley, drivers inside on his lane. Jones losing all that momentum. And it's the second time this has happened to a legacy Toyota right after John Hunter Nemechek had that bad pit stop. Preece leads with 5 to go. Don't forget about Justin Haley. He won this race as he was wrecking basically, but he managed to save it on the outside lane. Shades of Matt Kenseth in the Daytona 500 in 2016. But here's Preece trying to seek redemption. Haley trying to double down on his Cup Series victories with 2 and this particular race, and trying to do it without any rain delays. Eric Jones is all the way at the back of the pack as they're all routing around the backstretch and now onto the tri-oval. Ryan Preece trying to win his way to the playoffs. 4 to go. Preece leads it, but here's Haley with Busher pushing him. Don't forget about Chase Elliott and the dangers of pack racing here with 4 to go. William Byron's also not out of it. There are several other cars that are not out of it. Don't forget about the one of Chastain. Would any car be willing to make the move to make a third lane to try and build all that momentum? Haley can't wiggle it because that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing to wiggle the car because that's when you're getting loose. Side by side, Haley and Preece. You cannot allow any room here Ryan Preece and Justin Haley here side by side. 3 laps to go, and it seemed Preece had the lead there. It's been 166 races since Haley last won, trying to break that drought. They know the reality of the situation. Win and you're in, and you get a spot in the playoffs. Who wants it more here? Ryan Preece, drivers outside, trying to get his first career Cup Series victory. And don't forget about Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson. Preece still maintaining himself on that outside. Justin Haley on the inside. And what about Buscher or Larson? Do they send it here? Here comes Kyle Larson on the outside lane. Leaves Preece all alone. 2 laps to go. Kyle Larson trying to get his first career win at a restricted plate track as they're free wide right behind him. Haley is the control card on the inside lane. He is the race leader, trying to jump up as Larson moving on to the middle lane. Larson's gaining momentum. Here he comes. Kyle Larson down the back straightaway with Justin Haley on his side, free wide at the front as Cole Custer's joining the party. Custer in the 41. Larson not done with yet. And Haley trying to hold his ground here as they're coming to the white flag. Last lap here at Daytona. Cole Custer leads it. Cole Custer, could he win this race and steal a playoff spot? But what about Ryan Blaney? Pole sitter of this race. And a big push from Chris Buescher onto Justin Haley. Haley jumps up towards the high side. Custer comes back down low. And here's Haley. Joey turns the winner. And here's Blaney up on the high side. Pushed by Suarez. Ryan Blaney side by side of Cole Custer. Riding down turns 3 and 4. This is going to come down to the wire. Blaney jumps up high. Someone spinning right behind. Ryan Blaney trying to hold on to the line. It's Blaney. Ryan Blaney from the pole. He wins at Daytona. They wreck behind him, but for the first time in 10 years, a driver from the pole will win the race, and it's Blaney, and Alex Bowman is in. And Daniel Suarez gets second place by a fender over Justin Haley, 4 wide for the win. As Blaney had an entire car length right in front of Blaney with an aggressive move right in front of Larson. That's why he's the best super speedway driver in the business. He sent it to the middle, and Justin Haley tried to block Cole Custer. Blaney shuffles him out as Custer tried to jump towards the middle. Blaney with a huge push on the outside from the 99 of Daniel Suarez. And a 43, after he lost all the momentum, he picked it back up on the outside line. As Custer tried to go towards the inside, Blaney jumps up and shuts out all the momentum on the outside. Blaney wins the Coke Zero Sugar 400. And it looked like, for one of these cars, it looks like NASCAR is going to rule that Custer got pushed below the yellow line. So you'll have to see. Ryan Blaney gets the win here at Daytona and gets Penske their 6th super speedway win at the Next Gen Era on a restricted plate track. And here at Daytona, the World Center of Racing, Blaney gets redemption after he wrecked out in the final laps of the Daytona 500. The best super speedway driver in the business is your winner. And right behind Blaney, the next 5 guys were playoff hopefuls. Tyler Reddick clinched on points. Alex Bowman clinched on Blaney's win. And now, the burnout. What a race this was. What a win for Team Penske. What a win for Ryan Blaney. And by extension, what a win for Alex Bowman. Ho, ho, ho. At the line, it is Blaney with an aggressive move to send it to the middle as he shuffles Cole Custer out. And if you're an Alex Bowman fan, you got to say thank you to Ryan Blaney. What a drive and what a win. Ryan Blaney, your winner, as we go for the official results. Daniel Suarez, 2nd. Justin Haley, 3rd. Cole Custer, 4th. Eric Jones, Chris Buescher, Kyle Larson, Ty Gibbs, Josh Berry, Chase Elliott round out the top 10. And from here, Todd Gilliland, Michael McDowell, Christopher Bell, Ryan Preece, Ross Chastain, Shane Van Gisbergen, John Hunter Nemechek, Brad Keselowski, William Byron, Cody Ware, Tyler Reddick, Ty Dillon, Chase Briscoe, Austin Dillon, Denny Hamlin round out the lead lap cars. Down on a lap or several laps are AJ Allmendinger, Joey Logano, Joey Gase, Casey Mears, Austin Hill, Zane Smith, BJ McLeod, Kyle Busch, Carson Hocevar, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Alex Bowman, Bubba Wallace, Noah Gragson, Austin Cindric, and Riley Herbst. It looked like Logano was in line to win this race, but him spinning out in the final laps was what doomed him. But it was his teammate, Ryan Blaney, the last Penske car remaining, that got the victory. After Cindric wrecked out in stage 1. His 2nd career win at Daytona, he led 27 laps, including the majority of stage 1. And when the opportunity came, what a last lap and a half from Ryan Blaney. A previous champion he won in 2023. He helps Alex Bowman to the playoffs. And he is to be happy here. As we come to an end here from Daytona International Speedway, Blaney's your winner. The playoff field is set. Tyler Reddick clinched on points in stage 1. Alex Bowman clinched on Blaney's win. That's going to do it. From the Coke Zero Sugar 400, I'm Alec Nava, saying good night, everyone.